Hello, my chooms. Hello. I have, for the gamers that are here from the beginning, I have a, oh fuck. I have a special treat for you because I know that a lot of stuff, as you've seen in the Discord, is, oh my god, go away. Okay. I know a lot of stuff has been delayed, so I wanted to give you a little treat, okay? I'm giving you a little treat, okay? Okay, hold on. Hold on. It's not done yet, okay? It's not done. But, I have a treat for you, okay? It's not an edible treat. I don't know how to give you, it's a visual treat, okay? All right, hold on. Let me, I don't know how to, like, will it show up? Hold on. Is that working? Window, hold on. I'm still working on getting it to move the way I want it to. I still have to tweak with a lot of stuff, and I have to make a lot of adjustments. But yeah, this is gonna be a thing very soon. It's not done yet because I have to tweak some camera settings. As you can see, like, my surprise face keeps going off. My fucking pog, my I have other expressions too. I have my so I still have to tweak with, like, the expressions and the detection and shit, because as you can see, my mouth tracking isn't 100% where I want it to be. I really like the jingle jangles, and I really like my boobs. The hat is also, like, removable. What's the button for the hat? That's my tongue. Blech. There's like a, where's the hat button? Yeah, so I can take my hat off. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on working some extra shifts and whatnot so I can afford my 3D trackers. The whole reason 3D got delayed is because I got hit with a $300 tax bill. And that was the money I was going to use to buy my trackers for full body tracking so I could do a concert. So thankfully, with your guys' support from last month, I'm already around halfway to where I need to be. I think maybe more of like, I think like a little bit over a third of the way where I need to be for getting the trackers. So they are going to be coming. We are still going to have a 3D concert and all that jazz. It's just gonna be a little bit because the IRS took my money. So don't be mad at me. Be mad at the IRS. It's their fault because they were mean to me. But welcome in, gamer. Also, Dogma, thank you so much for the resub. You now have 6 PlayStations. But today, my Choombas, we are going to play more Cyberpunk. So last time in Cyberpunk, Keanu Reeves was mean to me, and I didn't like it. He hurts my feelings. So we're gonna see what's up. We're gonna, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. What they do to Sheldon? You pay taxes. Believe it or not, I do pay taxes. I pay quite a lot of that. I pay quite a lot of taxes. I really wish I didn't have to. And I keep almost accidentally committing tax fraud. But thankfully, I have an accountant who keeps me from doing that. So, it works out. You know, if you run your own business, get an accountant so you don't accidentally commit tax fraud. Because I've almost done that like 8 times. Time travel tax. Yeah, we'll call it that. We'll call it that. We'll call it that. Alright. What's going on?
I'm sorry.
You heard about the shooting.
You guys told me to not skip these, so I'm not gonna skip this.
An hour before any response team arrived on the scene.
Oh, damn.
700 rounds fired in that time. What happened?
Oh, shit.
The gunmen now.
Yeah, you tell them. Where are they?
CPD is responsible for the safety and security of all citizens within city limits.
Sarah, sweetheart, don't feed us some NCPD screw.
Oh, damn.
When
Spicy kind of? No, just money. Just money.
When will they no longer need to carry a concealed weapon for a trip to the mall or to take
Jesus Christ!
The
Oh
NCPD
my God.
is doing everything everything it can.
Look at that cop squirm.
Oh shit! Okay, we'll continue. Johnny's got a lot to say today. So, if you weren't here last time, basically, we finished the intro. Ooh. Whoa. Sorry, I have ADHD. But anyway, we finished the intro. Unfortunately, Jackie died, which made me really upset. And Keanu Reeves was mean to me, and I didn't like it. So Keanu Reeves, like, has my body, but not entirely. We're, like, sharing a body, but he wants it back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is that 3 seashells in the bathroom? Maybe. I miss Jackie's farewell. Don't worry, if you missed last part and you want to see me get really upset and angry and scream, it is on YouTube, so don't worry. But now we have finished the intro, and now we're on to the big boy part of the game. It's a beautiful day here in Night City, as you can see, and I'm about to go make it worse for everybody else. So let's see, we have some optional stuff. Yeah, let's see. Find something to wear. Maybe we'll have a change of fit. This is our current. Whoa, whoopsie. Let me try that again. Just to see your reaction. That's so valid. We have some new stuff. What's this? Base. Oh, that's stupid as hell. Okay, don't. No, put that away. Okay. How do I keep pressing the wrong fucking buttons. Okay, how do I turn this off? Because this is the ugliest thing. That's not what I want. Oh my god. What is the button to take shit off? Can I unequip it? Is unequip middle mouse? There we go. Okay. What's over here? What we got here? We have a Yorinobu's formal shirt. Okay. Oh, I kind of like that. I kind of like the way that looks, low-key. I feel like it makes me look buff, you know? But I also like just having my tits out. That was also a cool option. So, well, we'll go with that, I think. Yeah. I think that sounds good. Let's see. Stock up on ammo. We'll do that. Where's my secret? This thing, right? Can I? There we go. Do you want a cat? Oh, fuck yeah. Let's see. Where do I get my ammo? There we go. Give me that. We'll stock up. Let's see. Find something to eat. I mean, I have food, I think. What is this? A burrito? Fuck yeah. Alright, we'll take a whatever the fuck that said. I picked it up too fast. And we'll check my email. I mean, this is about what I do in real life when I'm about to go leave. You know, not too indifferent. Rent past due. Our records show we have not received this month's rent. Fuck you. Okay. Anyway, I gotta talk to. Oh.
Here. We must meet. Come to Tom's diner.
Okay. Where's Tom's? Why would I do that? Oh, I'm gonna thank you so much for the 13 months. You know, 13 PlayStations. Thank you, gamer. I appreciate you.
Haven't managed to get my head straight yet.
Yeah, what?
After everything that happened.
Oh, hey, sorry. Is that fucking critical? Oh. He kind of looked like Charlie for like a split second.
You must re-enter the ring.
Okay.
The bell has already tolled.
Oh.
Tom's diner.
Fuck this life. Okay, well, I guess we'll go to the fucking diner. Oh, wait, what the fuck? What does that say? Informs you that your vehicle is available. Oh, fuck yeah, my vehicle! I forgot about my vehicle! Capitalism is a fish-served cult. What the fuck does that mean? First will come the great reality check, which ushers in the future of the world. Whenever money changes hands, your true self becomes a victim to capitalism. The best weapon against capitalism is uninterrupted meditation. I thought that was gonna say medication. Like, to cope with capitalism, do Adderall. Like, I thought that's what I was saying. Ooh, a present. What's this? Hey, V. A thought just occurred to me. You can't start your career in the major leagues right by spying some rag of a t-shirt. The wind blows a lot stronger up there on top of the world. Old-timers like me hate to watch you kids catch a cold. Let's do a couple of things in your stash. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, thank you. I won't say no to free threads. Oh, he's typing. He's typing. Did you just go take it? No, there was a guy that walked past me that looked like critical. Got to hear it. They're just collecting dust. Okay, well, thank you, bro. I appreciate you. All right. Oh wait, I have one more message. Hold on. What was my message? Let me see. Human nature. Is that my new one? No, we'll do the main quest right now. We'll do the other quest right now. We'll read that later. But let me see. Where do I need to go? I mean, I guess I could just walk there, but I do kind of want my car. I don't quite remember how to get my car, but I would like my car privileges back. They took the...
NYPD, open up.
Oh,
Barry! We know you were in there! We're here to help.
That's not my business. That's none of my fucking business. We are minding our own business.
So I ask you, what's so bad about
All right. This is one of those games where I could literally just walk around and just listen to people. Like, I don't know. One of the reasons I love going to anime conventions, or really just any like gathering of people, I fucking love people watching, okay? I could just sit there and watch people do their thing all fucking day. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like that I could just sit in this game and just people watch. You know what I mean? After me talking about, I'll let you know where to get the cat. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Now,
Hello, I'm
because I know it's somewhere in my building, I think. Oh, wait, no, I have a car button, my vehicle button. Okay.
Mayor Lucius Rhine.
It's not that far, but, you know,
Learned of Mayor Rhine's death.
we can make it
He died
faster.
in his
You are such a listen, I love the tea. I told you guys about that couple I eavesdropped in on the Red Fair.
extraordinary
Listen, if you're gonna argue about your relationship in front of me,
deputy mayor.
I'm gonna form an opinion. It may not be a good one, but it's an opinion. You can't talk your shit in front of me and expect me not to be curious about it.
We all
Okay?
mourn the untimely loss
Mind
of
your
our
business.
mayor,
Well,
and dear
maybe you
friend.
shouldn't have.
Lucius Rhine.
There we go. Alright.
When we drive
Let me actually turn my game volume down a little bit. I feel like it's really loud. Let me do that. There we go. Okay. Alright. I should probably put my gun away.
So,
Oh, that's a bigger gun. Wait, what? Who's texting me? What's going on? V, we need to talk. Please pick up. Okay. What's up? I don't remember who Mama Wells is.
V, good to hear you.
Wait, is that Jackie's mom?
Been a long time since we talked.
Yeah, it is Jackie's mom.
Since when Jackie passed away.
Wanted to offer my condolences.
Calling to offer my condolences.
Oh fuck, now I feel real bad about not calling her back.
Offer your condolences.
Ah, shit.
Ay, Jesucristo, V. You lived under our roof. Have the decency not to treat me like some stranger you just met. To call you. I prepared an ofrenda for Jaquito. We can't let him go without a proper goodbye. The ceremony will be at the Coyote Cojo. Many of his friends.
Creeping widow kinda hot. Stop. I'll be there. Okay? I will make
no more
time to
Mama
be
Wells.
there.
I'll be there.
Jaywalk.
I did not doubt it for a second.
I don't know, it kinda sounded like she doubted it for a second. I know it's just like, it's like, I didn't doubt it for a second. I don't know, it sounds like you're kinda doubting me, girly pop. Alright. Let's talk to Takamura first, and then we'll do this shit with Jackie's mom, because I don't want to keep him waiting, because Takamura kind of scares me. Do that quest ASAP. Oh, is that a time thing? Hold up. I don't want Jackie's mom to be mad at me, so it's not timed. Okay. Well, I do want to see 2.1K. Okay, you know, let's do this, and then we'll go to Jackie's ofrenda. That'll be our priority. Jaywalking, yippee! Okay. Let's head over here and see what the fuck is up. Why is there a child here? Why are you just... Oh.
When I grow up, I'm gonna be a rocker girl.
Okay, bestie. Why are you just by yourself? Is this anyone's child?
I like you. Did you know that?
What? Who? Where are you going? Whose kid is this? Why are there children out here? What the fuck? Why are there so many children? Night City is no place for a child. You will get shanked. Okay. Alright.
Sit.
I mean, like, I know I'm by myself, but I'm like a grown-ass person.
You do not look so bad.
Ah, thanks.
Then,
Look at you with your
in
little
the car,
starbies.
I doubted you would survive.
Well, I'm built different. Wait, what?
What's it you actually want from me?
Are you really?
To
Listen.
begin, you must tell me
I am
where
a
to
teenage
find
23-year-old.
Evelyn. What's she to you?
Yeah, according to the tax
She and
people, I'm a
Yorino
grown-ass
Barasaka
bitch.
had an intimate relationship.
Oh yeah, look at that
She
big.
knows
Oh man,
how
it's
to take to
chomping
him.
down on that thing.
Been thinking I
yeah,
ought to have
fuck
a
it
word with
up.
her myself.
Fuck it up, Burger
She
Man.
promised to help me get rid of the chip.
Oh my god.
I would not count on that. She's likely gone, very far away.
Oh. Well, you just answered your own question.
Just answered your own question about where Evelyn is. long gone.
Did Evelyn die?
Why do
Is she
you believe
confirmed
she
dead?
could help you remove the
I don't think
chip?
she is.
Does a corporation help her?
I think so.
Suspect so, yeah.
Terrible emotional support. Listen.
Evelyn was knowledgeable about the relic. Had a large chunk
I'm
of
sorry.
classified info.
I'm
An
sorry.
enigma to be sure, but she showed that
Oh wait, no,
science
you're talking about the car.
getting
Yeah, fuck the
corpo
car.
agents.
The car can eat ass,
You know the kind.
but can't because it's a car.
I too possess this slyness you speak of.
Uh-huh.
You got tossed out, lumped with the outcasts easily. Or have you forgotten?
Bye.
Is that all? Really should be going.
Wait.
Oh.
Yorinobu Arasaka must answer for this crime of patricide.
Finally, the one person who knows it
Looking
wasn't
for
me.
justice? In
That's
Night
the one
City?
thing that made me
I
upset.
seek
Is I was like,
revenge.
damn, that's
Much more
crazy.
feasible
He
here.
killed his granddad.
I have allies prepared to bring Yorinobu to his knees. The only thing I need is proof.
And you think they'll trust the word of a merc?
Honestly,
I have
yeah.
nothing
They have no
better now.
reason to believe me.
Also, I know no one here. And I am a fugitive. I am hunted.
I mean, me too. What if I say no?
What if I say no?
Yeah,
Then I will tell you what
he's cool.
rewards
He's
await
kinda cool
if
looking.
you help me.
I like him. Want me to accuse him?
So what, we stroll into Arasaka HQ and announce that Yorinobu's a kin killer? That he murdered Saburo?
Oh shit.
We'll get the hearing before reasonable people in a neutral location. Certain procedures will be used to establish the truth.
A lie detector? Forget it.
In that case, another option. You are dying.
Yeah.
You do not know how to save yourself.
No.
A chip, the relic, is a culprit. Technology made by Arasaka. Technology they alone know. This corporation can save you as easily as it can make you disappear. It is merely about getting the right people on your side. Politics.
Ah, shit. Like that guy?
You mean people like Anders Hellman?
Wish my
You
last
know
name was
this
Hellman.
name?
That's cool
Oh.
as shit.
Prepped for the heist thoroughly. Relic is Hellman's design, his creation.
Untrue. He's a pawn. I was thinking of one much more powerful. Besides, Anders Hellman escaped to Arasaka. Betrayed it.
Wait, what? What's going on here? I can't see. Can I zoom in?
花子様、お会いできて光栄です。
こちらこそ。
Now, Hanako-sama, I would first like to ask you,
Hanako-sama. The way he said that was like funny to me. I don't know why.
Saka scums everywhere.
Huh?
Hey, I was listening to that.
Shut up. Nobody except you wants to watch that shit about that corpo cunt.
Oh, fuck him up.
Did you say?
Fuck him up, Takamura. No, I'm letting him go. Go, fuck him up. Fuck him up.
Listen.
Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
You listen. It's people like you two that have brought this country to its knees. Taken our land, our jobs. our
Fuck him up,
fucking
Takamura.
dignity.
Fuck him
But
up.
I own this place, and here I decide. So finish your tea and get the fuck out.
Gun, 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 gun. What? You're just gonna take that? No, fuck him up. We shouldn't draw attention to ourselves, but I support you.
Last thing we want to do is draw attention.
I'm sorry. A stupid reflex.
It's okay. I would have done the same, honestly.
Thanks for the offer. Need to think about it. Get back to you.
I need time to plan, organize. You stand to gain much if you help me.
Okay.
All I ask is that you do not leave.
Yeah, Burger Man
the
does
city.
not give a shit.
Leave? Why would I leave? Need help. Best chance I'll find the right person here.
Someone other than Arasaka specialist? There's no one. No alternative.
All right.
Actually, we just talked about some.
Yeah, we did. Here. I would try my luck with Evelyn. She's hot.
With a bit of luck, I'll track down Evelyn.
If she could not help you before, she will not manage to now.
Honor among thieves. Ever heard of it?
Yes, I thought it ironic. Thieves have none. There's
Yeah,
just honor.
he
I
is
believe.
Yorinobu
He's not
Arasaka
humble, we'll say
agree.
that.
I'm sure.
The Parker woman will not
I
help
mean,
me.
the way I'm interpreting it, and I could be
Why
wrong,
you?
is it's like,
I will
yeah,
think
he's
about
like,
the plan B.
was with Arasaka, but that's the key word is was, you know? So, like, if we do want to take him down, he's our guy. He's on the inside, you know what I'm saying?
Anders Hellman. He invented the relic. If I want to get rid of it, he's my man. And if that means picking another fight with Arasaka, so be it.
Hellman defected from the company. I myself spent many days looking for him. He... what's the expression? Dropped off the face of the earth.
Someone poach him?
Defected? Where to? Some other corp poach him?
As far
He
as
hasn't
I
left
can
by
tell,
choice, just to be clear. He's
he
still riding that
acted
corporate
alone.
dick.
A meticulous man. He
That's
planned
good
it,
to know, actually.
covered his
Tell
tracks
that to
very
the nuke! Oh, shit.
Any idea where he took off to?
None.
Why are you looking for him?
Why are you looking for Hellman?
He was the one to alert Saburo-san to Yorinobu's schemes. He knew both of them well and could be an
I
important
keep yawning.
witness.
Holy shit.
Corporal rats squeal when hanging by their tails.
For several days, I collected the information. All leads point to one place. The club called the Afterlife.
Oh, I'm down to go to a club. Fuck
I
yeah.
was quickly dismissed by the queen of fixers there, Rogue.
She spot the no experience talking to people like that.
Mean to say you worked for Saburo, yet got no idea how to talk to the high and mighty.
She wished to have nothing to do with the man accused of murdering Saburo Arasaka.
Rogue's
Fair
well informed.
enough.
Gets wind of most things that happen in the city. Might be worth
He left out
asking
of
her about
shame.
Hellman.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wish you luck. The woman is choosy, expensive, and rude.
Damn, she's just like me, for real, for real. Okay. Is that it? Are we good? I'm putting the...
I cannot stay here any longer. Do what you want. Look for Parker, Hellman, whoever. I must see some friends. Call in some favors.
Okay.
When my people in Arasaka are ready to listen, I will call
He
in.
left because Arasaka thinks he killed Saburo.
So then, I
I thought
guess.
they thought I killed
If
Saburo.
by some miracle you find
Who the
Hellman,
fuck is... Wait, I
please
thought I
notify
was the
me.
one accused.
He and I have
Are we both
unfinished
accused?
business.
I don't even know this man. How can we be in on it? I just met him like, whoa. God damn it, Keanu.
Zapper dumples and filth. In some ways, Night City never changes.
They just want you to say
Arasaka's still a despotic machine and the world's on a collision course with chaos. But hey, at least Rogue's still alive.
We buddies now?
You know, you've got some nerve. First you're out to kill me, now you want to be my pal and make like
No,
nothing
he's just
happen?
like looking at me for a second.
You know you don't gotta speak out loud to talk to me.
What do you want?
And I've
Yeah, he's
processed
got his
some
feet.
shit.
Oh no,
changed
he's
my
got some
mind.
drip. I'll
Don't want
I'll
you
say
dead
that.
anymore.
Go fuck yourself, dick wipe.
Oh, she got the pointed.
Hey,
She had
wasn't
the
easy for
Karen
me
pointing
either.
there.
You woke up in a landfill, I woke up in your head. Wrestling with your thoughts, memories. Think we're even. And I've taken a step back, looked at things. Think we might be able to help each other. We could start with Rogue. Her and I go back to the Stone Age.
Please, I want to be sassy.
You are the ghost of Christmas past, asshole. Any friends you've had are either dead or so old their memory's gone.
Johnny Silverhand died a legend. Nobody forgets that.
So you fucking know Rogue. What would I say to her? I got a talking brain tumor, claims it's her old friend Johnny?
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
Trust me, Rogue's heard dumber shit than that. Way back when you weren't even an itch in your daddy's ball sack.
Jesus.
Don't need convincing. Seen your memories. Gross.
Gross.
Rogue will dance to any tune I play or just get us to the afterlife.
There is
There
no
is
us.
no us.
No, you tell him. Damn. I knew it. I knew it. I was gonna turn around and he was gonna be gone. I fucking knew it. Okay, here's what I want to do. Oh my gosh, thank you for the hydrate. Welcome to Stream Gamer. Here's what I want to do. Before I do anything else, we are going to go say goodbye to Jackie. That is number one, priority number one, okay? That is what we are doing. How do I track the job that I, here, this one. Okay, it's tracked right now. Okay. I don't care. What? Who's this? Making a name for yourself out there. How about some new digs too? My chum over at Easiest States told me there's fresh new units for rent. Oh, hell yeah. I want a better house. Fuck yeah. How much money? Oh, guns, rides, digs. Fuck yeah. Alright. Let me get my car. Why can't I get my car? Don't I need to be in a special, like, type of spot to get my car? I don't remember how the car thing works. Like, I remember... Like, it makes sense I get some of my car in the busy street, but, like... Where do I have to go to get it? Like, excuse me. It has to be, like, a special spot, right? Like, would this work? Oh, excuse me. I want my car, bro. How do I summon her? Let's see. I am, but it's not letting me. What? Where the fuck's my parking garage? Let me see. Because I want... Where's my car? Where's my car? Claim it in the garage. Collect your gun. Pay off your debt. Fetch your vehicle. There we go. I would like to fetch my vehicle, please. Okay? I would very much like to do that. Alright, steal. Can I steal one GTA style? Because I'm down for that. But also, I've already pissed off the cops a little bit more than I would like to. What is this prediction? What is this about? I will say bye to Jackie. I will. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to be a good friend. I'm going to be a good noodle. I'm not going to get distracted. I will be a good noodle. Okay? I'm not an asshole. I'm not a dick. Okay? I will say bye to him. Okay? Should be left or right. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Okay, let me just... Oh, shit! Oh. I'm good. I'm good. Parkour. Haha. Okay. There we go. Bet you thought I was gonna fall through there. Oh shit, my tits aren't on. Hold up. Hi, Jolly. Let me turn my tits on real quick. I forgot a bunch of stuff because of the surprise. Whoopsie. Okay, let me put that on. Don't worry, I'll yeet myself. I'll kick myself in the shins. Don't worry. Just bam, and then wait, wrong button. There you go. Okay. Yeah, all right. The tits are on. Okay. Give me my vehicle. I want to do vehicular manslaughter. Please? Come here. Hello? Alright. Hello? Hey. Parking garage? Aha! Don't mind if I fucking do. Alright, let's go. Huh? What the fuck was that?
Johnny, did you see what happened? Something feels off here.
You don't say.
How do I start my car?
A run. City's most courteous chauffeur up and drives
How do I
away
start the
from
car?
scene of an accident.
How do I start the car? I wanted a car!
Gaslight,
What?
gatekeep, girl
Oh,
boss.
Pavilion, thank you so much for the follow! Look at the stream gamer, you know, Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. My car's dead? The fuck? Can I steal a cop car? Is there police in here? I can't break into that one. Maybe I can break into... What's like a good... I mean, this kind of looks like shit, but it'll... I can't break into anything? That's fucked up. I want to do crime. What about this one? I can't steal one. Oh. MILF guard. Did that just say boobies? Okay, here we go. Is anyone looking? Haha! Okay. Alright, let's fucking get out of here. Alright, I think the guy... Oh wait, I had a message, hold up. I know texting and driving's bad, but wait, I'm eligible for compensation? To assess damage and arrange compensation. Oh, okay. I'll do that later. I'm not in desperate need of a car right now because I just stole one. So we'll handle that later. I need to go see my friend first. Okay, my friend died and I need to go to his ofrenda. Okay, where's the... There we go. Okay, We're going on a road trip. It's 2.7 billion kilometers away. I don't even know what the fuck a kilometer is, but that's okay. Okay, let me out of here. How do I get out? Oh God, it's like real life. How the fuck do I get out of this parking garage? I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Go down, not up. How do I go down? There's no sign. This way? Oh shit, that's up again. Wait, but this arrow says down. So if I go backwards, okay. Oh, no. Don't hit the curb. No. Okay. Aha! Alright. Now we're cruising. Ramps go both ways. Okay, there we go. Aha! I do not need arrows. For the great EV Games is stronger than humanity's need for feeble arrows. Okay. What? No! Excuse me. Hello, Miss MILF. I need to leave now. Goodbye. Okay, this way. There we go. Okay. No. Okay. Okay, no. Okay. Come here. Okay. Is this the right way? This does not look like the way. This looks like a hallway. Hold on. Let me just shimmy over this way. Excuse me. Oh, I'm so skinny. Oh my God, I'm so skinny. Okay. What are you doing? What do you mean? I'm trying to get out of a parking garage. What? Why'd it beep at me? Do they know I stole the car? Oh, fuck. Huh? Oh, no, that's something else. Okay, how do I get out of the garage? No, but I need that. Okay, listen, I earned this car fair and square. I have been in a parking garage before. That's just not very clearly marked. I don't know how to leave. David, how do I get out of the parking garage? Come here. Stop laughing at me and help me.
Okay, turn right.
This way.
Yes, okay.
Whoa.
Turn right again.
Oh.
Keep turning right.
Oh.
And that's how you get to the street.
Yay!
Good luck.
Yippee! Okay. All right. I have my vehicle now, and I'm ready.
Get a job. Stop scaring people.
And I'm ready to roll. Okay. Let's go. Okay. This way. All right. Road trip. All right. It's a little bit blonde moment. Actually, I'm a brunette. No. Okay. There we go. Oh, I missed my turn. Fuck. Oh, excuse me. I missed my turn. Excuse me. I missed my turn. Thank you for your patience. Okay, let me just squeeze over here. Yeah, do a little merge action. And let me just pass you because you guys are slow. I'm in the fast lane, motherfuckers. Okay, turn down your sensitivity. How do I do that? Oh, I missed my exit again! Excuse me.
Wakako Okada.
Excuse me.
The Lady of Wisdom.
Ah, yes, my typical morning commute. Why are you guys... No more traffic. No. I don't need to deal with this. Do you know who the fuck I am? Yeah. Fuck your traffic, bitch. Okay. Now it's just a straight shot, I think, for a little bit, okay? What a beautiful, nice, relaxing ride of the city. Look at this. Isn't this great? Look at those palm trees, you know? Isn't that nice? Isn't this nice? I'm a great driver. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, okay? I follow traffic laws vaguely, and that's all we need, okay? All right, where's my turn? I think this is my turn. Excuse me. Whee! Okay, there we go. Easy peasy. We still got a ways to go, but we're about halfway there. Can I be the exhaust pipe? Sure, absolutely. I am home.
Already? Sure got that ear to the ground.
All right, how fast am I going? 95 miles per hour. Can we break 100? Oh, shit! Okay. Get out of it. Can I have a horn? Is there a horn I can honk? I want to honk at someone. Let me honk. I want to be a clown. Okay, hold on. Is this my turn? Hold on. No, it's the next one. Excuse me. What? Why are you shooting at me? It's just a minor traffic accident. It's just a minor traffic accident. It's just your bumper, bro. Nothing serious. It's just a minor traffic accident. It's not that serious. It's not. Can everyone just chill? Like, come on. It's not, like, everyone's so serious. Like, okay, how do I exit the car? Hold on, let me park real quick.
Zero. I repeat, code 0 in this area. All units resume normal
This one.
duties.
Yeah,
All
this
units
is
in
good.
the area, reports of additional suspicious activity.
Okay. Time to go to my friend's funeral. Da-da-da. Hello, everybody.
We got to get rid of it.
Really? He's pretty massive.
What's up?
V, nice to see you.
Hi.
Oye, sit. Sit. You want a beer?
Una cerveza. Yes, please.
Wouldn't mind one.
Can I have one? Please turn on your sensitivity. I don't know how to, like, my mouse sensitivity, or is there a separate
Salud.
sensitivity for driving? I genuinely don't know.
A lot of time has passed. How you been?
Oh. Okay. Let me do that real quick. Hello, Leo. Let me turn down my settings. Where is it? Gameplay? Controls. Okay, turn, where, steering sensitivity? Turn that down. Yeah, we're just gonna turn that down. And then we'll just turn my general mouse sensitivity down. Oh wait, this says it's all for controller.
Do you have a controller plugged in?
No, I don't actually. I don't know why it's defaulting to controller.
Further down is mouse.
Okay, there we go. Mouse, okay.
Gaslight,
We'll
gatekeep,
do
girl
this.
boss.
Living single, thank you so much for the follow. You know, guess I give you girl boss. My sensitivity was too high and I did vehicular manslaughter 10 times. Hi, Ash, welcome in. Hi, Leo. She cyber my punk till like 2077. Hell yeah. Babe, I'm hanging in there. I think I'm coping very well.
Somehow. You could have come over for dinner. Nuestra casa es tu casa.
My house is your house.
But okay.
It's okay.
We put it behind us.
To be fair, I did
am
die.
in the middle of preparing an ofrenda. There is still so much to take care of.
I can help you.
Could help you with that.
Gracias, mi cielo. But I will manage.
How goes the scream learning?
enough you
I
come to
haven't
say
progressed very much because I did have a really sore throat the past few days, and I have to sing a
Want to take part in
an
a ceremony,
opera thing coming up
want
soon.
to do it the right way.
So I haven't
in
been
line
doing a
with
lot of streaming
tradition.
because I have to prep for some opera stuff.
But something I'd lay by his casket that'd do justice
Thank
to his
you,
memory.
Paula.
I don't got anything.
But your heart is in the right place, mi niña. Don't worry. He's symbolic. Look for something in his garage.
Here
His
in my
past
garage.
is all there.
Okay.
Thanks, Mama Wells.
Don't mention it, V. You have respect.
Since when?
I admire that. The garage is on Republic.
What do you mean? Yeah, I just did a little vehicular manslaughter. It's called a coping mechanism. Listen, I may have run over 12 people, but they don't know what I'm going through. Have they considered that? My friend died, okay? And you are nothing to me. They're NPCs. They're not real. It's okay. All right, but welcome in. Listen. For legal reasons, that's a joke. I've never done a vehicular manslaughter. The only car accident I've ever been in is when the fucking FedEx truck accidentally backed into my parked car. Oh, you okay?
You here alone? This is not exactly the safest
I want to
neighborhood
grab
in
her
town.
little cheeks. She's so cute.
I used to sit on the
I feel
stairs when
bad
I was
for her.
10. 26 now. If anything was gonna happen, it wouldn't have taken this long.
Oh.
What are you doing here?
Sitting and waiting. And yeah, waiting for him. Though I know he's never coming back. Lately, I've just been coming here to sit.
Oh,
An hour.
honey.
Sometimes 2. I know it's gunk, it's just... I miss him. A lot.
Oh, here, let me, everything is still very loud. Let me change the dialogue volume a little bit. There we go. You okay?
Wanna sit? Catch up?
Yeah.
Hardly gonk at all. Just, well, human.
Yeah.
I guess.
Jackie told me about you.
Jack talked about you a lot. Always saying how much you meant to him.
Did he really say that? I bet he used different words.
Maybe, but that's what he meant.
Oh.
I really believe that.
You actually got to know him. The real Jackie. Everybody else thought he was a goofball with a rough-hewn face and an edge.
I'm just a goofball. I don't got any of that other shit. He was like that too, though. Well, who was he to you? This is about you.
What did you see in him?
Let me tell you what he told me once. Told me he'd take a bullet for me. In an instant. Even if it'd kill him.
Spoken like a true Haywood boy.
A man. With dreams, ambitions. Only thing they cost him was his life. There's a huge chunk of his past in there.
In the garage? Why didn't you go in?
How come you're outside?
I don't have the key.
Jackie never gave you a set? You two didn't get that far.
He offered, but I wanted him to have his own space.
That's fair.
Just his own.
You wanna help me?
Mama Wells is having a send-off for Jackie. I need to find something he really cared about.
Are you coming?
Mind giving me a hand?
I'm not sure I should go in there, V.
Still too soon.
No, it's not that.
Oh.
Mama Wells and I aren't exactly on the best terms. She wouldn't want me touching any of his things. Disturbing the memory. That I know.
Oh, I didn't mean to draw my gun.
Jackie
Sorry.
want you here.
Sorry. No, sorry.
That's more important.
I don't mean to. Sorry. Sorry. Shit. Didn't mean to kill the moment. Whoopsie. I don't know how to put my gun away, so we're just here. How do I? Here. Is this the garage? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Oh, twice. Okay. Thank you. Open her up. Oh damn. I don't know if I should go in here. Goes in here. Scan and search the garage. Yeah, how do I scan again? This button.
Gotta be hanging here since 2020. Fine piece of metal and mechanics. He was so psyched.
What's this? It was like blue for a second.
Still full.
His favorite.
I like
Strategic
scanning
reserve.
things. It makes me feel like a hacker.
No touching.
How come?
How do I?
¿Por qué no puedes tocar una reserva estratégica, va?
Locked. Wonder what's in there.
Ooh.
That's his lair. Slept there. He must have had a different key. Let's look around. Might be tucked away somewhere?
Yeah.
Love to poke around engines.
He was 15 when he first got on a bike.
Knowing him, it is a miracle he never wiped out.
Oh, there's a key.
Found it.
What's this? Guess it's not important. Let's open this one up.
Oh, Jackie.
Oh, shit.
A mandala?
Mm-hmm. It's a long story.
I feel so bad for her, bro.
You alright?
Can I give her a hug?
I'm so much better than alright. I once told Jackie he should sweep all the dark energy out of this place. A sand mandala would do the trick, for example. He told me that out of sand he'd build a castle, a home, the Wells family hideout, stronghold, something.
I guess you made a bigger impression than you thought.
Aww.
I guess I did.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's hideous.
What?
But it's also the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Damn. Oh, bro. It is sad. Let's see what's going on over here. Wait, what? I don't wanna jack in. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I just wanted to use it.
Nice still.
Yeah, how do I just, there we go. Use, that's what I wanted to do. Let's see. Dex. I vouched for you and V. Heard about you, remembered you all too well. I even want to meet with V. I think it'll just be a formality. See you at the afterlife. That's a little ironic. Saturday the boys are competing. Beer's already cooling. Don't forget about our deal. And then there's a bike. Okay. Let's see.
Jackie's favorite tequila. Still sealed.
It's
Could
his
be a
lucky
good
charm.
one.
One of the first bottles ever made by Jesus de Abajo.
The founder of Senson Tequila.
Only 100 of them left in the world. All owned by the 1%.
How did Jackie get this one?
Some shriveled
I probably shouldn't have taken a dead man's money, but I didn't think. I just clicked the button.
Had stolen her recipe.
Damn. Is there any other options?
An aquarium?
They used to be tacos.
And Taco was...
Miss Fish. A dwarf
Aw,
shark.
he had
like
a fish.
Sounds like a mighty expensive fish.
Oh, I don't think he bought it.
I guess we'll take the tequila. Oh, shit.
Taking this. Yeah. Perfect for
There's
Jack.
10 options? What the fuck?
Well, you got something for your ofrenda. But we could look around a little more.
Yeah, there's his
Leather
belt.
Sort of a memento. His dad's. Used to beat both Jackie and his mom with it.
Jeez.
Until one day, Jackie fought back. Kicked his butt. Told him he'd kill him next time. Old man was hospitalized, and then he left.
Damn.
Why'd he hold on to it?
In case his dad ever comes back.
Damn. Let's see. Hi, Foxy. Thank you for the yeet. What else is in here? Yeah, there's a few other options.
Jackie loved to pump iron, didn't he?
He called it his form of meditation.
Hey.
He used to say, barbells are the best listeners. They
Pictures.
understand all your problems and
Fox.
never give you gonk advice.
What's this?
Basketball signed by Dante Gonzalez.
He was from Haywood, too. Everyone here shot hoops. Dante ran circles around him. I think he might have been the first kid to ditch the Valentinos.
Like Jackie?
Mm-hmm. They both wanted more out of life. Dante's captain of the NC Blackouts now.
Good for him. Let's see. Anything else? Beer bottles. The pictures.
Guess no man cave's complete without some of those, huh?
There's a book over here.
He said they're collectibles. They don't print them anymore.
It's definitely why they're up there, yeah.
This
Or
is definitely
who
why
the
they're
dog
up there. Shit.
Ernest Hemingway.
Jack read it a dozen times. Always right before a big job. He said the guy who wrote it was tougher than Morgan Blackhand.
You read it? Is it any good?
I never got the chance.
It'd be a good tribute for the ofrenda, though.
Can I trade?
Jack, pure and simple.
I think we'll skedaddle for now.
Where are you going?
Actually, V, I think I'll stay a while. Say bye to him here. Mama
Why
Wells
did
wouldn't
you?
want me
Why
there
does she have beef with his mom? Yeah, what's going on?
What happened between you two?
What's the beef?
What's the beef?
Let's just say she didn't see me as daughter-in-law material.
Aww.
What did she have against you?
That my name wasn't Camila and I wasn't Jackie's ex-output. Camila was Mama Wells' favorite.
Aw.
Right.
I mean, he'd want her there, right? I understand. Like, if she feels like she shouldn't be there, then...
I understand. Take care of yourself, Misty.
Yeah. You too, V.
Like...
Hey. Everything okay?
Yeah. I just need some
Mama
time.
Wells don't understand how they them pussy is. You right, though. You're so right.
Hey.
Since there's another dialogue
Everything
option,
okay?
but...
Yeah. I just need some time, you know?
Okay. I don't know why it still says she has a dialogue thingy, but alright. Let's go over there. And let's see. Well, hopefully it'll go well. I think we'll give the book over the tequila if we have a choice, but we'll see what happens. Pretty.
a glass to him, padre. A few glasses.
De acuerdo.
V, it's good you're here. We're about to start. Sit down, please.
Who's playing the guitar?
Hey, V.
Or is that just background music?
I thank you all for coming today. I'm not going to tell you what kind of man my son was, or lament about how much I miss him. Instead, I'll tell you a story. When he was
playing the guitar and that scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I was like, who? Who's playing it?
Valentinos. They were at war with Maelstrom back then. I get a call from the hospital.
I made them make peace. Maybe I should have.
They tell me he got shot 3 times, just by the heart. He was conscious.
I don't know. I was worried it would start shit, you know, and I don't want to start shit at a funeral. I do a lot of fucked up shit. Like I'll run over someone with my car, but I'm not gonna fuck up someone's funeral, you know?
Tell me, he said. No te preocupes, mama. Look, I'm bulletproof. Nothing bad will ever happen to me. And when I go, he take off his Valentino's ring. He swear he won't need it anymore. But he was not scared.
Yeah, I'll cause a funeral, but I won't mess one up.
He just didn't
You get it.
to worry. Descansa en paz, mi hijo.
Damn. Mama wasn't Miss Sierra Chill, this ain't Jerry Springer. Listen, I've seen some fucked up shit. That's all I'm saying. I've seen some shit, okay?
Among the membership of the Night City Devils Boxing Club, we had this saying. Make your best friends among the fighters who knock you out cold. And it's true. Jackie's arm was a cannon. No one's ever hit me as hard. I can still almost feel it.
Oh, Victor.
12 rounds, buddy.
This is so sad. Oh, fuck this game, dude.
Mandó Camporta.
It's making me
Lamenta
feel
no estar
shit.
aquí. Todavía le quedan 4 años que cumplir. Me pidió que leyera esto. Recuerdo cuando Jackie se nos unió. Era un niño fuerte. Cuando decía que iba a hacer algo, cumplía. Tenía
I just wanted to be a hot robot woman, and now I'm at a funeral and I'm sad.
Mis condolencias a la familia.
Fuck.
Que descanse en paz.
Anyone else?
Here, I'll say something.
I often think back to the first time me and Jack met. It feels like it happened a century ago. At another time, in another place. Jackie saved my life. And then years later in Night City, he saved it again.
Damn.
At a time when I
have not played The Witcher 3 yet, actually.
Absolutely.
So that might be on my list.
I found my own freedom then. But it would not have happened.
I've watched a little bit of The Witcher 3 show, though.
Jackie.
The Witcher 3's show made me kind of depressed, though. He had principles.
An honorable man. He placed principles first and stuck hard to them. Once he set his mind on something, he was ready to die to achieve it.
Damn.
He once told me, Chica, the one thing we can't do is be afraid of others.
And he never forgot where he came from.
He kept Haywood in his heart, always. It made him who he was. But most importantly,
he did not fear life.
Jackie loved life and had no fear. Heart on
I'm
his
trying to
sleeve.
focus on the good.
He didn't overthink things, he just went for it. Thought he was bulletproof. And that he'd become legend at the afterlife. And ultimately, he did what he set out to do. shit in the shoes of some
I wouldn't have said that, but...
If he's watching. Bet just about now he's flipping him all the bird.
Look, you got her mom sobbing, V, you fucked up bitch.
When you go to war as a boy, you have a great illusion of immortality. Other people get killed, not you. Then, when you are badly wounded the first time, you lose that illusion.
Damn.
Rest easy, Chum.
I would like to say a toast.
I figured that was better than the tequila.
Por mi hijo.
What happens if you throw the drink in the fire? Wouldn't that make everything explode? Why is that an option?
Thank you for your kind words, V. I'm glad you're here. It was a beautiful ofrenda we gave him. Do you know what? You're a good woman. Jackie would want you to have these.
What is that? You sure? Pouring it in the fire is a way to let
Jackie,
the spirits have a
chew
drink.
me.
Oh,
I got so much as
see,
a
my
scratch
thought was
on
like alcohol plus fire
So don't
equal
get
more
any
fire.
scratches
Why would
on
I do that? Well, thank you.
Thank you. I'll take such good care of it.
Cuídate, V.
We can never use that ever. I don't know how to fucking drive. Gotta talk to a few people, it looks like. I don't know who the people are, but what's up, dude?
Gonna miss him.
all torn up.
There
It
it
feels like he lost one of his own.
Wonder if he'll be as torn up after.
Me too, chica.
Started something, eh? Not
Cheers to Jackie. Got off to greener pastures.
You only need a car, you got his bike. I don't want to fuck up his bike, though.
Jackie Wells.
Like, we have established I cannot drive in this game. I will fuck up his car.
Haywood.
Alright.
It should mean
So
go.
I should ride a motorcycle than to drive a car in
Sure.
this game. Okay.
See you later, V.
That's fair. Let's talk to the Valentinos. See what's up there.
Pour you another?
Hey, you!
Jaquito.
Have a drink with us.
Listening's a skill, you know.
To Wells?
Sure.
All right. Why not?
To Wells. May he rest in peace.
Who are you?
Think we might know each other.
Gustavo Horta.
V.
Yeah, I've heard about you. Well, heartfelt condolences, friend. From me, Campo, and all the Valentinos.
Thank you.
How'd you meet him?
How'd you meet Jackie?
We started out together.
In the Valentinos?
No, in the fucking Bible book club. Yeah, I got only good memories of him. Rest easy up there, brother.
Alright.
Good for now. Thanks.
See? You gotta know when to stop.
Nah.
Nah, give me a break. Let's go.
Who are the other people I can talk to?
Lupe's been handling their loss pretty good.
Can't
She's
see anyone
a
else
stroke.
where it'll let me talk to him, so... Because it says there's other people to talk to, but I guess we'll just skedaddle. Alright. Well... Oh, upstairs? Okay, let's see. How do I get upstairs? Upstairs. Probably over here. Hi, Wayling! Welcome in, gamer. Oh, I can't go that way. Oh, okay. Well, I can take this alcohol, so I'll do that. Where are the stairs, though? Deadass. Here we go. Alright. Let's see if we can talk to the other people just to see what's up. What's this? Vote for... Okay, I don't care. Let's see who's up here. If there's anyone to talk to. Because I didn't even realize this place had an upstairs, deadass. What's up, dude?
Here to say goodbye to one of your own, Padre.
We're doing good. We were having so much fun
I'm
killing
here to
people
say
in the
goodbye
street, and then we went to a funeral, and now I'm sad. The two aren't related, but you know. Did you know him well?
Jackie.
Hi, Nick.
Did you know him well?
I remember the
The
day
way he just looked at me for a second. I fucked up.
the day his father left. The day he took you into his home. Yes, V. I knew him quite well.
How are things?
How are things in the streets?
This is not the place to conduct business. Have some respect.
Sorry, I didn't know. I'm just
I'm
gonna
gonna
head
move
out.
Go with God.
Okay. Let me could have talked to the bartender, so. I think we'll just skedaddly doot, though. I think we'll skedaddly doot. Really thought the bartender would be at the bar, but what do I know? Oh.
Need you to focus now, okay?
Yeah.
Pour. For Jackie.
One more drink, and then I'll skedaddle.
Amen, sister.
I've had like 5 shots. I'm ready to drive. Only the withered husk subjected to constant pain. That's my stream experience. One more drink for the road. For the road.
Have as many as you want.
Can I drink myself to death? Like, how? Like, will they cut me off? Another one.
I'll have another.
Have as many as you want.
Is there any effect to this? Like. Another one.
I'll have another.
Have as many as you want.
Like, is he gonna run out? Oh, Jingle, thank you so much for the 5 gifted, gamer. That's really sweet of you. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. And you know what? You know what? I'll drink to that.
Have as many as you want.
I'll drink to that, my good bitch. Thank you, Jingle. That's very sweet of you. And you know what? One more for the road.
Have as many as you want.
Okay. One more for the road. Now I'll go for real, for real. So, like, I could just drink and then just that's it? Alright, bye. Okay. Good to know there's, no effect to that, I guess. What? Oh, yeah, 5 street cred. Let's fucking go. Okay. Oh, my car. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, I should probably find a quest first and then get into my car. Okay, now that we've done that, because everyone thought I was gonna not do it and everyone thought I was gonna forget, we're gonna do a break really quickly, just so I can go get more water and stuff. And then I think when we come back, we should go to the afterlife. Get Walter. Call the bike. I could do that too. I'm so scared I'm gonna fuck up Jackie's bike, and I don't wanna be a dick, you know? We might do some of the baby quests to, like, pay off debt, get my gun, get my shit. We'll see what's closest. We'll run around the city a little bit, okay? We'll go on some more road trips and, you know, run over some more people because we're back in our feelings again. And that's how we cope with stress. Manslaughter. Although I guess it's not manslaughter if I'm doing it on purpose. Don't think too hard about it. Okay, I'll be right back. See you in a few minutes, gamers! That's not what I wanted. What the fuck? Wait, where's my BRB screen? Where the fuck? There we go. Okay. BRB! you so much for 12 PlayStations! We're still not technically back yet, but I got a soda and I peed because last time I didn't pee during a Cyberpunk stream, I was like, oh my god, this game's so good, and then fucking, and then I almost pissed my pants in a cutscene, and I don't want to, I respectfully do not want to do that again. I got a sody, gamers. Here, I'll wait till we're back. Okay, and we're back. Okay, welcome back, gamers. The drinky of the day is Cherry Coke Zero. Piss is not the drink of the day, no. Well, welcome back, everybody. All right, let's get going. David has informed me that if I fuck up Jackie's bike, I can fix it. So I think what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna, since this is the closest, let's go to Kabuki and see what's going on. Apparently, I need to fight bitches, and I'm down to do that. So let's fight bitches, and let's try the bike. All right, let's give it a try. Where's my car? There she is. All right. Here, come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Excuse me. All right, so, Jackie, this one's for you, old friend. Oh, fuck. For Jackie! Fuck! God damn it, why am I so bad at manslaughter? Hitting people on the bike is hard. For Jackie! Yeah! Listen, some may call me fucked up, but if I died and someone killed me, or wait, no, if I died and someone like ran over someone in my honor, I'd be like, yeah! Move your camera back. How do I literally read chat was like, oh shit, how do I move my camera back? Here, let me put that away. I don't need that right now. Yeah, how do I put the scroll wheel? That just takes my weapon out. Oh wait, switch camera. There we go. Oh wait, shit. Yeah! Okay, now we're cruising. Whoopee! Alright, let's head over here and we'll see what's up. We'll take another road trip, okay? Alright. Oh, I missed my turn. Shit. Excuse me. Okay, is this my turn? Wait, no. Oh, wait, I am supposed to go over there. Hold on. Wait, let me, God, why is, okay. Okay, this way. No. Okay, there we go. Okay, the new camera's a little bit difficult, but I'm sure I'll get the hang of it any day now. Okay. What are you looking at? Oh shit. Can I not? Yeah, that's what I fucking thought! Okay, okay, yeah, no regrets! Just like that graffiti says, no regrets! No regrets! No regrets! Okay, here we go. Alright. There we go. Alright, don't look at me, I have social anxiety. Stop looking at me, it freaks me out. Thank you. Alright. Anyway, here's my turn, I think. This one, right? Yeah, there we go. Alright. Let's beat some bitches up. More than I have already. Alright, if I just, yeah, traffic lights are an illusion. There we go. Alright, I think the lights just turn green for me, which is fun. Okay, there we go. Alright, I'm not a failure, I just do things unconventionally, okay? I march, my mom says I'm special, and I march to the beat of my own drum, and there's nothing is wrong with that. I just do my own thing, and that's okay. I'm special in my own unique way. Oh, excuse me. She gave me anxiety. Sorry, I had to shoot her. There was no other option. Okay, here, this is my exit. Okay. Now, some of you might be thinking, Evie's just drawing out the bad drive. It's just a bit. She's just doing it for the bit. And you'd be right. You would absolutely be fucking right. This is hilarious. I'm having the, listen, you may not be having fun. I'm having the time of my fucking life. I'm having a, like, fantastic fucking time, okay? Order has been restored. See, order has been restored. Everything was fine, okay? What do you mean combat? Combat? I never, combatter, I don't even know her. There we go, okay. How do I get off? Is it this button? No? Is it this button? There we go. Oh wait, who's calling me? Robert?
Hey, you hear me?
Hi!
Loud and clear. Don't need to yell. What's up?
Doing a little competition. Shoot, prizes and all. You know,
Ooh.
the range.
Uh-huh, that'd make sense.
Well, you in?
Sure.
Sure, I'm in. When?
Well, right now. We'll wait on you. See ya.
Okay, bye. Okay. Let's head into the ring. What's this? Ooh. What? Oh, he's calling me again. Okay, that's about the sale. Alright, let's go in. Let's kick some ass. How do I get in? Huh? $0. Oh, don't mind if I do. How do I get in the ring? I need to find the ring. What the fuck is that? Okay, I'm good. Are you telling me that in 2077 there's insurance if your baby's fucked up? Cause that's hilarious. It's a rooftop. Oh, okay. Now how do I get on? Oh, stairs. Okay, well that's a start. How do I get on? Oh. Okay. All right. I think I know where to go. All right. Oh, hi guys. Let's see. Aha. All right. There we go. It reminds me of like Mirror's Edge or some shit. Aha! Yee! Okay. Parkour, bitches. What's poppin'?
This is pointless. I know where I'm gonna strike before.
Alright, which one am I fighting?
Here for a fight. Which one of you is my guy?
Me.
Both of you?
Wasn't expecting a tag team, but whatever.
I can take two guys at once.
So, who do I got first?
That's fine.
No. You don't get it. That body and this one. I'm the same person.
So, what? I'm seeing double?
You both got a fucked up haircut.
Which you could probably guess. The twins
In a
had
fight,
close
right?
bond.
What do you mean?
They wanted to be closer.
What do you mean?
Stronger. So they installed neural oscillation sinks. And now they're, well...
Listen, if you're gonna clone yourself, get a better haircut.
Two bodies. My bodies do everything together. Everything.
We're raising the stakes.
Fine, but we're raising the stakes.
Fair. See no problem with that.
Is it like Skyrim is gonna automatically disarm me? Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright.
Show me what you got.
How does this work? Wait. Whoa. How do I don't know how to do this. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, fuck him up. Okay, now you. Wait. Is that my tooth? How do I kick? There we go. What? Ah!
Stop! I give up!
What about you? Do you also give up?
And you? Had enough like your brother or hungry for more?
Clicking so hard the screen is shit. Listen, I wanted to win!
That's me. Jesus, what's so hard to understand?
This guy's jamming out. I respect it.
Your winnings.
Yay! If you click harder, you do more damage. Oh! Well, apparently I need to talk to them. But do you guys have anything else to say?
Oh,
there we go. It just lagged a little bit.
There's always the next fight.
I leveled up!
Stop talking to yourself.
Hi, kid! I've come from YouTube purely to ask if you have all 3 weapon slots filled. Well, you will be very happy to see, okay, that I have, yeah, I have all 3 weapon slots filled, okay? I have this one with the knife because it was the funky knife, but I kind of want to put my katana back. Oh, yeah, baby. But I did fill them! I did! But welcome to the stream, gamer. You should have asked if they do everything together. I mean, listen. Have I been using my spec points? That's another question entirely. Let's take a look. Okay. character, you have a better pistol. I thought I was so used to the one funky pistol. Oh yeah, why am I using that pistol? That's a great question, actually. Let's use this one. Actually, this one's sexier. We'll use that one. And then put that thing on it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's level up. I have 5 attribute points available and 2 perk points. So let's do. I want to be smarter. I'm kind of stupid. Can I be smarter, please? I don't know. Maybe just being cool is all I need. Can I just dump into cool? Is that an option? Yeah. Fuck being smart. I want to be cool. Oh yeah, baby. Where we're going, we don't need intelligence. Let's see. 20% mitigation chance. I don't even know what the word mitigation means, bro. Killer instinct. Oh fuck yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, I have that one already. Quick getaway. Perfect. Oh wait, I have that one already. Oh yeah, these are the ones I have. I'm stupid. I can't believe Bimbo got auto-modded. Change to not take damage. Be cool and strong. Himbo Bimbo build. That's a good idea. All right, next time I'll dump everything into the strength. Okay, Road Warrior. Perfect. Okay. All right, we're looking good. All right, this is Hot People Eraser. Listen, I'm incredibly sexy and I'm stupid. Okay. All right. What's next? Let me look at my journal. Apparently, I got some calls I gotta make. Let's see. Judy!
Lee? That you?
Hi.
Shit. I thought you were gone.
Wanna talk to Evelyn?
Listen, need to find Evelyn.
And you.
I really don't
Wink,
wanna
wink.
talk about her.
Know where she is?
What'd I just say? Drop it. I won't tell you again.
Yes, me, mommy. Come on, let's meet.
Can we meet? Let's meet, please.
I'll buy you a drink.
You at Lizzie's?
Or 2. Oh, okay. All right. I guess we're gonna meet with Judy. Let's do that. I don't know if she's the one I want to romance yet, per se. I kind of want to see what all my options are before I commit to that. But I'm down to learn more about her, if that makes sense. So let me find where I put my fucked up vehicle, and then we'll get cruising. Okay? We'll get cruising. Who are the romance options? I know Judy's a romance option. Are there other romance options I haven't met yet? Like, I know there's more. I just don't know. I don't know where they are. Wait, where's my bike? Is my bike coming to me? That's not my car. Okay, there are 4 more romance options. One of them is manipulative. Okay, well that's the one for me. I love people who are bad for me. We've been over this. Y'all saw how I acted with Astarion. All right, let me hop on. 2 girls, 2 guys. Can I have multiple partners? Oh shit, whoopsie. Can I have more than one? Like it's Cyberpunk, right? I feel like everyone in Cyberpunk's a little polyamorous. Like, everyone kind of looks poly, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, this way. Excuse me. Oh, shit. Excuse me. Is this my turn? No, I think it's the next one. Okay. This is my turn. Here we go. Excuse me. And then one more turn. Over here. There we go. Okay. And there we go. Alright, here we go. It's not that far. Alright. Judy! I'm here. Okay. All right, get off. Okay. I don't know why, but every time I say Judy, it reminds me of like, you know, do you remember like the old Christian meme where he's like, Judy? That's what I think of, just Judy!
Hey, haven't I seen you here before?
Yeah, hi, you're hot. Can you beat the shit out of me?
Got a good memory for faces.
You are very attractive. Can you please beat the shit out of me?
We're closed right now.
Are you of all people generalizing people? I say this as someone who is polyamorous, okay?
Need to talk to Punchy
like
Judy.
that.
She in her den.
All these bitches look poly. It's me. I'm bitches, okay? Listen. That's Rita. She's very. Yeah, I want to kiss her on the mouth, bro.
Don't let me catch you messing around, okay?
Wait, can I have sex now? Because the first time I tried to come here, I tried to smash and I couldn't. Hi.
I'm just getting started.
What does that mean? Why is it empty? There we go.
Again. What is it you want us to do now?
Beat some sense into him. That don't work. I don't know.
You don't smash here? God damn
I
it.
don't care. I just want my room.
What's a bitch gotta do to get some cyber pussy? This is so... Girl, what are you doing? Okay. Let's go find Judy and see what's going on.
Judy's
okay?
embarrassing herself again.
What?
Hey, where are you going? Nothing to sit back
Let
here.
it lie. Judy's friend.
Yeah, I'm a friend, bro. Haven't you heard? I'm a friend. A very good friend of that. Oh.
You done with that babuja?
Alright, here we go. The place is where you get pay-per-view. Jig Street. Okay, I need to find that street. It's imperative for gameplay that I find that street. Okay, I need to take a shit real quick. I can't take a shit! No wonder everyone's shit on this game. Fuck that immersion. It's not immersive if I can't poop my pants in a public bathroom. God damn. Okay. There we go. This way. Okay. Yeah, it's very important for the plot. To do an adequate review of this game, I need to get someone pregnant. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. It's just how it is. Okay?
Stop telling every joy toy you meet to come here. The hell I'm supposed to do with them all? You so concerned about strays? Go take care of your guest.
Sus, we're not done here.
Oh yeah, we fucking are.
Hi. You're not done with me.
Wanted to ask you something. It'll only take a sec.
Not now. Later, okay?
Okay. Okay, pretty lady, whatever you want. Alright. It's pretty accurate to not poop in a public bathroom. Listen, when you got IBS, you don't have a choice, okay? You can't wait till you get home. You are waiting for God to come take you. Like, you don't have that choice. You don't have that luxury. It's fucked up.
Have you seen Evelyn?
I can't get
Need
those
to talk
cyber
to
hooker.
her.
Yeah, the
It's
cyber
important.
hooker heel legs go hard.
Why? So you can make her your scapegoat for your train wreck of a heist.
Listen. Sounds like you guys talked.
Seem to know how the heist went. Meaning you did talk to her.
I know how you fucked up. Got all your Jumbas killed like a real pro.
Shut up. I'm sensitive about that.
Caught some lead myself, too.
Yeah, look at my sick bullet wounds.
Occupational hazard for you mercs.
She knows she's getting into.
I took a risk. We all did.
I
But it
do
was
speak
Evelyn who
only
gave
facts.
it to us
I'm
in
sorry.
the first place.
You may not like
She
me,
knew
but
what
I
this
am
was
speaking
from the start.
facts. What are you doing?
Fine. Looks like we're all in this piss pot together.
Yeah. Yeah, so I also died. 100% death rate.
But you're desperate. Writing's on your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fucked.
Okay. Let's just say I'm pretty much fucked. Biochip we clept during the heist is killing me, albeit slowly. Evie commissioned the job. Might know how to stop that. That's why I need to know who hired her.
Let's say I believe you. All right. Evelyn's a doll. Used to
Doll
work in
means
clouds.
prostitute, right?
I'd look for her there.
And where is that?
Seed case on my table's got the address. Take it, and once you find Evelyn, give it to her.
Okay. Give me that.
Write
Type
it
of.
down.
There's multiple types of
Sure is.
prostitutes? I can't equip the penis enlargement cyber. This is so fucked up.
Wait.
Huh?
Just let me know how she's doing. Okay?
Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Give you a call. Okay.
Thanks. Thank you, V.
I want to give her a head pat. Why can't I pat?
A doll. Why am I not surprised?
What you got against
You're an
hookers?
engram and a fading mind. Nothing should surprise you anymore.
Don't, that's
So we're gonna
rude.
hit this place, Clouds?
Why the hell not?
You got anything else to say? Yeah, no, I didn't think so. Okay. Alright. Listen. Everybody, it's the oldest profession, Mr. Keanu Reeves. We respect sex workers in this house, okay? Alright. Oh, hey.
The club's closed. Don't you have somewhere to be?
What happened?
Know what happened to Evelyn Parker?
Why are you asking me? You talked to Judy about her already.
I think
Sure,
you're
but you're the
pretty.
boss.
I just want to talk to
I
the
know
pretty
something more.
lady.
Evelyn jumped the Mox ship a long time ago. And anyone not a Mox is not my damn problem.
The Moxes help the girls?
Heard you give the working girls a helping hand.
Like a madam?
That's ancient history. And like all history, it was pretty damn bloody.
What was it? Something about a riot? Joy girl murdered by a tiger claw?
Jeez.
Not the first, just the one that tipped the scales. Folk went ballistic. Streets overflowed with raised fists. Girls, pimps, outcasts, the whole freak show.
The whole
That's how
freak
Mox
show.
got started. But that's old news. We're running a business now, not a charity. Can't help everyone.
I respect
in
the
this
hustle.
city. Gotta take care of our own. Moxes come first.
How's business?
Guessing the club brings in a lot of biz.
Pisses its share of cost, too. Why, looking to invest?
If I can spend more time with you, my lady.
Admiring your operation.
We took over this place way back when. Every day I wake up and wonder how it's still standing. We get by. That's all I'll say.
Alrighty. Well, I can't say that other one, so I'll head out. Alright. Let's skedaddly dude.
This is about
Whew, bright light. And let's head to the building. See what the fuck is up. Alright, let me make sure we're on. Yeah, because we're still on the Clouds quest, right? Yeah, let's talk to her. I do want to see what's going on with this. And we'll see what's up. Oh, Mr. Hands.
Mr. Hands. If you're looking for Pacifica jobs, call me.
Well,
Name's V. And what? No pleased to meet yous?
I'm truly honored to meet you.
Thanks.
If you got any biz, call me.
I guess we'll just do this. I thought my bike was out there. Oh, my vehicle got repaired. Yay! Okay, now I can fuck it up more. Yippee! Okay. Alright. Huh? If you can't, what does it say? I don't do chit chat. Well, fuck you. Okay. If you're not gonna be polite, then I don't want to talk to you. I don't care if we're in Night City. Common courtesy goes a very long way. It doesn't cost anything to be nice to people. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry, excuse me. A student driver. Student driver. I'm a student driver. Excuse me, I'm a student driver. Please be patient with me. Thank you. Thank you. What's the name of that horse company? Or the horse video? What? I have no idea. Ah! This is why you don't look at chat and try. Oh, shit. I didn't think I would just wipe out like that. I was reading chat. Let's see. It's okay. What do they say? Water under the bridge, right? Water under the bridge. It's no biggie. That's okay. I'm a very I know what I'm doing. Okay, it's fine. Listen, the biggest thing is we get there. Okay, how we get there is up for debate, but we'll get there. Okay. See, look, I used my brakes this time. See? Very safe. Fun for the whole family. Okay? I could be a school bus driver. Just trust me, okay? Okay. Alright, here we go. Meow. Take the shortcut. Take the shortcut. Whoop. Excuse me.
Can you talk? It is important.
What's important?
Oh, shit, not again. I'm gonna head out.
Established the contact with an old friend from Arasaka.
Like a less homicidal Miss Frizzle. Oh shit.
Influential people.
How's that gonna help?
That's gonna help us how? Exactly.
There will be a meeting.
Hi Napa, welcome in gamer. I think I've only killed 20 pedestrians so far.
The truth of it.
But we can get those numbers up, don't worry.
I have little hope that he will be convinced. But it will be a start.
Where's the meat?
Fine. Where's the meat and when?
Japantown. After sunset. I am sending you the precise location.
I'm working on it, don't worry. Alright, let's head up to Clouds and let's see what's going on here. We'll talk to Evelyn. Alright. It's been more? Really? Is anyone actually keeping count? Oh,
The only
fuck.
thing waiting for you here is getting off or getting off.
Fuck yeah!
Recent book, In the Shade of an Apple
My two
Tree,
favorite
as a
things,
treasure
dying and getting my dick sucked. I see this as an absolute win.
Braindance chick is hiding something. No coincidence we already saw 2 tiger claws. They must control the building.
Tiger claws have ties to Arasaka.
Arasaka and the tiger claws are in bed together. Go figure.
Every corp plays dirty, except the streets are more than that. They're filth. So the corps leave it to the gang, suits collars and gets sold.
Watson whore. Blowing away the competition.
Into N54 News.
What was he saying? Anyway. Alright. I guess it's evening. Yeah, that looks like evening. I think we're good. Alright. Wait, what is going on over here? Hello, my lady. Oh, you're not real. Okay. Happens every time. What the fuck? Is this a vibrator vending machine? Okay. Alrighty then. Party of 2.
Welcome to Clouds, where we know what you're looking for. Would you care to jack into the terminal?
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
This will be a live session, so events may take an unexpected turn. But don't quit if you feel uncomfortable. You could miss out on something truly remarkable.
I put in a special request for 8
If you
twinks.
feel unready to handle what comes next, you can interrupt the session immediately.
What's gonna happen? Wait, am I?
Now for your safe word.
Spaghetti! Samurai. Why isn't the option spaghetti?
Samurai.
Why'd she say that so, like...
And saved. Now, bear with me a
My
moment.
safe word is Fortnite.
Scanning your personal profile.
Just
You should
kidding,
see
it's
compatible
actually
dolls in
spaghetti.
just a second.
Match it. How? Wait, why can't I pick? Can I have both? That guy's more of a twunk than a twink.
2 matches.
No, I said a
Interesting.
twink, not a twunk.
Is that normal or?
The other girl's fine.
Who can say what is normal? You're clearly a unique person with unique tastes.
Do they just like pull up my BDSM test and go to town? Is that what this is?
Angel or Sky?
Wait, why do I have to pick? Why can't I have both? Can you show the picture again? I already forgot their names.
Thinking Angel looks good.
I couldn't have chosen better myself.
Translation, you a freak. Listen.
And you'll venture into the clouds.
Why couldn't I have both? Okay.
There you go.
Angel's the guy. God damn it. All right.
And the payments come through.
I didn't want a
The
twunk.
entire floor is open to you if you wish to wind down first.
What does that mean?
Angel awaits you in booth 6. Disconnect, please.
I'm also looking for Evelyn
Looking
Parker.
for an Evelyn Parker. She work here?
Give me a moment.
I've never picked the guy. Well, it looks like we're both going to have an
Evelyn's
adventure
not
today.
available at this time.
Okay.
Need to see her. It's important.
The algorithm knows best. Trust me, it will choose a doll that will thrill you. Our dolls can change their hair and eye color in real time to look just as you wish.
I just want to talk to her.
I just want to talk to her, that's all.
Please, no need for concern. Your doll will talk to you about anything you wish.
I'm sorry. Did she finally say anything useful?
No, I'm about to get my dick sucked.
Fuck the menu. Let's ditch this waitress and take our special order to the chef. Point blank.
Imagine picking a guy I could... It was an accident. I like the girl more.
Meaning?
If it were up to me, I'd just take both, but they didn't give me that option. Like, I'll pay extra. I don't give a shit. Why can't I have both?
Is that it?
We have a strict no weapons policy here at Clouds. Please deposit any and all hazardous items with me.
Oh, okay. It's my locker.
Only 2 willing to spread their legs for you. Sad.
Shut up!
Eat a dick, Johnny.
Yeah, eat a dick! You can't kill me and then call me a fucking virgin. This is so... I hate Keanu Reeves. God! Anyway. What's this? Classic, Crystal, Faye, Sakura, Peach, Cream, Mojito, Blue, Dark. Ooh. Can I get a monster? Do they have the peach ones? Those are my favorite. Although I've actually been drinking more Celsius lately. Bro, I don't know what the fuck they put in those Celsius things.
You a real
but
deviant.
what? No, yeah, he's right. Like I'm not like he's right. So yeah, he's right. He's right. When you are sky high, choose product. Can I have cocaine, please? What does this do? Woo! Applies the nourishment status. Oh, okay. Alright, what's going on over here? I think that's porn. Twinktopia! I gotta go. I gotta go. Who are you? Okay, man of few words.
Not bad, but it would be much better real. I would eat those thighs.
I can't get in? What's that mean? I'm here every motherfucking week.
You're not authorized to access the VIP.
Am I
Oh,
authorized?
yes, I am.
No.
No, sir, you're not.
Alright, where's booth 6? I'll do what I'm supposed to do. Let's see.
As establishments fuck sideways go, this one takes the whole damn pie. Hear that?
No.
No laments about pain.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. 0, 6. How do I get in?
Valerie, right? I'm Angel. You're Angel.
You can just call me V.
It's V. Just V. Only people I know real well.
So now we know her
use
real
my
name.
But we'll get to know each other well in no time, honey.
I think it's his eyes and his hair that I don't like.
Sure, why not? Do what you do best.
Is it like a fade to black side thing, or is his dick gonna come out?
I know that you're dying.
What? Whoa! 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 Wait! Hold! Hold, please! Listen. I just want to get my pussy ate. I don't want to talk about death. Jesus Christ. Fine. Welcome in, Mask. God, why does this keep happening to me? Every time I do something slutty, the guy says something weird. He does kind of look like my ex. You're right, Boston. He does kind of look like... Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. How you know it? I'm not pussy, but...
How do you know I'm dying?
Deep inside, you fear this. Cower before it.
I came to get someone pregnant, not have a therapy session.
Of all the voices in your head, the loudest is that calling for help. That's why you're here.
Got my soda ready.
Tell me what you see.
I just wanted to breed a twink. This is so fucked up. Where's the mirrors?
There's something.
I can't see anything. I don't know what he's talking about, but
It's a projection.
where?
Your inner landscape.
I can't
That's what I
see.
needed. Therapy with a robo hooker.
I'm not opposed to
I'm
it.
not going to analyze
I mean, it's
I
a lot
won't
more
play
interesting than regular therapy.
My sole aim is to fulfill your greatest need.
If his sole need is to bring back, okay, so if you're here to, can you get me like a Taco Bell 12-pack filled with nothing but cheesy gordita crunches? That is my biggest need right now. Anyway, hi Aragon, welcome in. I'm looking for someone.
Listen, I'm looking for someone who worked here. Evelyn Parker. Know her? Know where she is?
You must see the big picture. You
Oh, he's
focus
coming
too
over.
much on details, minor ones.
Oh, he's coming over.
Like Evelyn.
Please don't act like you know me. I just want some answers.
No, it's okay.
Are
That's
you
fine.
asking the right questions? How can you change what has already happened?
When do I get my dick sucked?
I was told this place would fulfill my deepest desires. Not what I was expecting. This.
When true desires go unfulfilled, they turn into needs.
So is like the sex
We
thing
are
just
here
the
to
front
reach
and
for
they're all
that
just therapists?
and beyond.
So what's it I need so badly?
To come to terms with the fact that you died once already, only to face another kind.
That is not what I need. I need to get a twink pregnant. Oh my god.
Come to terms.
Sure, let me just.
The
curl
sex
up on the
happens,
floor
just
and
not
wait
to
for-
us.
Whatever.
Aww.
Give up.
I mean, sex
That's what
therapy
you're
is a thing.
Actually, I'm saying the
The real
opposite.
dick sucking was the emotional
You
vulnerability.
wish to leave
God
something
damn it.
behind. A piece of yourself. That's why this all began.
Hi, Remy, welcome.
Remembered.
A sex robot is being my therapist about my fear of death, and I don't know how to handle this. Doesn't everyone want to be remembered?
Yeah. Wanted to reach the top.
God.
Be someone. Still do. But seems like that might not happen.
I was about to say, I'm like, why is he giving me bedroom eyes? And it's like, oh, right, he's a hooker.
Die.
That adds up.
In history. Fuck it, even a footnote would do.
And after that? Do you think death is a disappearing act followed?
He looks nice. Yeah, the photo really did him dirty. He's actually kind of cute in person. The photo did him so dirty.
I'll be shredded. I'll disappear. They'll be.
What if I just have a panic attack and start like frothing at the mouth? Like, what if I have a seizure? What does he do? Is this man like trained in CPR?
Doesn't sadden you?
Is he Red Cross certified? Sad is an understatement.
Of course I'm sad.
He won't remember it. Oh, that's kind of fucked up. Like, that's interesting, but I feel kind of bad about that.
Now my number will be up. I was gonna go out in a memorable way. And later, lots later. Turns out death don't give a shit what you want.
You wished to do so much. Thought you had time.
What now?
So, where do we go from here?
This is the part where I tell you what you must do.
What?
Oh, okay. Be my guest.
You never back down from anything, so don't stop now. Not one step backwards.
Oh boy, we are really in this together, chat. We are. We are in this together.
You dive.
Is he holding my hand?
Always have.
No, he's just laying there. Touch.
Things are moving way too fast.
Hold my head.
Without me, I can't keep up.
A minor delusion. The truth is, we and our paths are braided, never ending, ever transforming, not being, but becoming. And what's happening inside you, it could change the world. Listen, V, never look back. If you must kill, kill.
Oh, shit.
If you must burn all the world to the ground, then burn. Okay?
Thanks.
Thanks for this. I don't want to go out there.
No one ever does. But eventually we all must.
So I don't get my... I didn't want therapy. I wanted my clit sucked. This was a scam. Oh, shit.
What? What happened?
You okay?
You interrupted the session? Did I do something wrong?
No, baby. No, honey. No.
Evelyn Parker. What do you know about her?
Wait just a sec. That's not how this works. You can't ask me about the dollhouse or anything like that. I could get in serious trouble. Go. Please, just go.
I need you.
You gotta help me, please. I'm no threat, and she could be in trouble. Just want to talk to her, find out if she's okay.
Look, I barely knew her, and I have no clue where she is.
Nobody came looking for her. Nothing out of the ordinary happened?
There was an incident with a client. I don't know the specifics. One doesn't ask
He's
about these
prettier
things
without
around here.
the doll eyes.
Tom might know. He and Evelyn were close. Go ask him. And please leave me alone.
Okay. Who's Tom?
Tom, who's he?
Friend of Evelyn's. Wasn't a free moment they weren't together.
Where'll I find
The
him?
pants that tight to sleep. Listen.
He's a doll here. Works the VIP area, booth 2.
You'd be surprised.
Thanks.
There's some very fruity looking guys out there.
Don't ask for me again. Ever.
You'd be surprised. That's all I'm saying. Not that I would know. I'm a pure say-so VTuber. I don't have sex. All right. Let's go find Tom and let's get into the... Oh, do I kill this man? Is that what I have to do? Hi, do I have to kill you? I think I have to kill you.
Second floor is for VIP.
Maybe I could do this? Oh, no, that's not gonna work. How do I get inside? I need the card. Yeah, there's like a death sign over his head. And last time I had that, I thought it meant I was supposed to kill them. But that was actually the cop. So maybe it's indicating he's like a security guy. Who's around me? Let me save, actually. Because I'm probably about to do something really stupid, so I want to save. I mean, no one's here, and I have a silence. Oh, that's right, I have no guns. Hi. If I can get behind that guy. Because the thing is, they're going to see me. Well, his back is turned. Are they really going to care if I kill this guy? No. Okay. Use your computer. Oh, good eye. Good catch. Good catch. Let's see. That's a good idea. Computer eye. Industrial shutters. Double doors. Overheat. Distract enemies. I need this card, probably. Distract. Distract. Gas pipe. There's another room I haven't been in. Oh, let me check that out. Let me see what I'm missing. Is it this one? Oh. The men's bathroom! Unico, thank you so much for the yeet. Can I shit? No. God, this game's not immersive. Oh, wait. Are you... Aha! I should probably hide the body. Let's, put you... right in here. Okay. There you go, bud. He's just, can I close the door? Can't close the door. God damn. She's so hot! Oh my god! What's the pout mean? Oh, she's kind of cute. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, how do I close the door? Because I want to hide him, but... Are they fancy doors? We'll just leave him in here, I guess. I'm sure it's... I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Whew. Crazy shit I just took in there. Alright. Thank you. Alright. Let's see what's in the VIP area. Hey. Alright. Let's check it out. I'm looking for a Tom. Ooh.
Anything, whatever stands to fuck me up the quickest.
Real.
Better keep this short and sweet. 2 brainwashed sex zombies in a single day is too much, even for me.
Well, you gotta... Fuck, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Up your... Oh, shit.
Hi. I think something might have gone wrong here.
What do you mean?
Not really sure, I don't have your details? Sorry, no idea what I'm supposed to do.
I'm not a customer.
Relax. You don't need any data, don't need any deeds. I'm not a customer. Here to talk. To you, specifically. Not to be with a doll. Tom, is that it?
Uh-huh.
I want to talk to
Need
Evelyn.
to get in touch with Evelyn Parker. It's important.
You and me both. Tried calling her a bunch of times. No luck.
Mean to say she's not here?
She had an accident. Needed to go to a special clinic in Osaka. Or Oslo.
Those are 2 very different places, my guy.
For a new faceplate.
That's not even... Well, it's Cyberpunk, so... Shit, I'm too stupid!
Tell you herself she was skipping town?
Nah.
I really need to put just like one more point in smart shit, because I'm too stupid for like everything.
Told me she left, like I said.
Where's the woodman? Who is he?
Who is he?
Mr. Forrest. But everybody calls him Woodman.
Well, that makes
I really
sense.
known why.
Okay, Mr. Forrest then. What's his thing?
He's kind of like our caretaker. Finds new talent, deals with ugly situations.
Got it.
Could it be Woodman finally shed some light on this shit show? Man can only dream. The skull sponges and these dolls. Ugh. That's what they should be replacing.
Are you like critiquing the hookers, bro? You just said you could like. He just said that 2 hookers was too much. So I don't know if you. I think you're kind of a pussy, Mr. Keanu Reeves. That's all I'm saying. All right. They know I'm back here. Oh. I shouldn't have just walked in there, should I? I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's cool. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There can never be too many hookers. Shit. How am I gonna get in? What's this? What's in here? Well, I've got a katana. At least I've got a weapon now. Hold up. Let me equip that real quick. Don't mind if I do. It came from here, right? Okay. Oh, shit. I can't have them know I'm back here. Shit. Are they coming for me?
I know it.
Need to distract them. There's a camera out there. Is that the camera? Remote deactivation. Door. Gas pipe. Fire extinguisher. Traceable. Where's that camera? I don't see the camera. Oh shit, okay. Alright, we'll do this fast. Alright, they couldn't find me.
What? No clients allowed in here. Well, dear, close the door on the way out, would ya? As you can see, I'm very busy.
Looking for a girl named Evelyn Parker.
Got nobody working here by that name.
But she used to. What happened to her?
Probably did what all the dolls try to do. Found a unicorn to set her up for life.
What do you mean by unicorn? That's like a swingers thing,
You could do better.
I think.
Try Roxy over at booth 2.
Isn't unicorn
Same
like someone
heart-shaped
looking for a
ass.
couple to fuck around with? I'm
Behavioural
pretty
chip will
sure.
do the rest. Won't feel any difference.
Let's make a deal.
Look to me like a reasonable man. I think we can work something out.
And you look
What is
to
on
me
the
like
screen?
a psycho bitch who's never been ghosted by her bill or beau before. But go on.
Nice.
I'm listening.
I am. Not you, unicorn.
You sit here in this day.
But it's like a general term, I'm pretty sure.
And think
like
you've
in
got it made, don't you?
like swinger circles, a unicorn
Congrats.
is
You read minds
someone
better than
who's
her
like
own
looking for a
fucking
couple.
AI.
I think. I may be
Someone
wrong.
get this girl a job.
Ever stop to think who's behind the tiger claw puppets you
It's
call
like
your
an upside down
bosses?
pineapple thing.
Tiger claw bosses have got
Let's
their
say this
own
one.
bosses, case you didn't know. You're just too small to see them.
Oh, because you're such a big shot.
Binary.
Let's just say, a certain member of the Arasaka clan
I
wouldn't
shouldn't be looking at
pleased
the
if he knew
screen
something
or the
bad
burger,
happened
but
to
I'm
Evelyn.
very invested in
You're
the screen
the
and
one
the burger.
All right, fine. I'll lay it on you straight. Girl you're looking for, Parker?
Yeah.
She ain't here.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, where is she?
Think you know how things work around here. But you don't know shit.
Well, I have a katana, so...
Dolls aren't here to give you pleasure and satisfaction out of the goodness of their soul. They're workers. Their job's to generate profit.
Okay.
This you talking it out straight? What happened to Evelyn?
Got an order from up high to recycle.
Evelyn's fucking dead, isn't she?
You killed her?
No. I found a Ripper doc who was willing to take a look. Yeah,
what?
Said he knew something or other.
You invested your own eddies to help poor, unprofitable Evelyn? Please.
You got me. Ripper's the one who paid me.
Name and address.
The Ripper.
He
Name and
would
address.
fit inside a trash compactor. I agree.
Don't know, Eliza.
I really hope I get to stab him.
Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, don't fuck with me. I have a katana.
Goes by fingers. Clinic's in some godforsaken
Jing Jing
alley
Street's
up
where I
on
get my dick sucked.
Want to find Evelyn? Look there.
Say no more, hombre. All right.
Don't come back here. Ever.
Okay.
While you're at it, take the elevator. Quicker you're out of here, the better.
Sounds good to me.
Dark fingers on Jig Jig Street. Sounds like a co-ed's wet dream.
You annoy me.
How'd she look to you last time you saw her?
Yeah, a little bit late to ask that. All right. Fuck him. All right. Anyway, put my katana away. I guess we'll just take the elevator on out. Easy peasy. All right. Boop. I guess we gotta go to Jig Jig Street now. All right. That'll be fun. I don't like how leave clouds is a task within itself. That makes me think something. Oh yeah, my weapons. Oh, what's this? Oh. This should be.
Your weapons.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Cool.
A pleasant day to you. The next time you have that urge for clouds, don't wait.
I will never be back here again. Okay, let me re-equip my weapons. Let's see, cyberware inventory. I like that katana, but I don't think it's as well. No, this katana is tier 2. Okay, cool. Let's give me back my guns, my pistol, and then my this one. Okay, cool. Well, that was an experience. We'll call it that. Something's waiting for me, isn't it? Guess not. Okay. All right. I really thought I was like, damn. Wait,
Got a real charm, this place.
what you gotta say?
In that slimy, subterranean kind of way.
Think we'll find her here?
Think Fingers has got her? Think we'll find her there?
V, if I could see that far, I wouldn't be a fucking...
There's only one side that like
ship
just doesn't end in
corpse's head
him
right
trying
now.
to just fuck up your shit. God damn it.
See, her opinion about dollhouses hasn't changed.
Oh, but it has. Before, I wouldn't have touched one with a 10-mile pole.
Wait, did I do the right choice or the bad choice? Because I thought I was doing all the bad choices. Alright, well clearly he's got some words. Okay. He's still here. Normally when I look away, he like disappears. Like that was something cool, I thought. Oh, the right choice story-wise? Oh, okay, good. Why is he still here? Right if you want to avoid shooting your way out. Oh, thank fucking Christ.
Try ours today.
Alright, that's disgusting. Okay. Alright. Ground floor. Johnny, where are you? Johnny, where the fuck are you? He's egoing me? God damn it.
Taste the love.
No, I don't think I will, actually. Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa!
You had a plan. You tried. You fell flat.
What?
Now you're flat. Don't look in any condition to find help.
What are you trying to say? Hey! Hey!
What the hell's that?
Huh?
No, damn it.
Jesus, the fuck do you want from me?
I can't! Thank you so much for hanging out, gamer! Have fun with your haircut.
Decommission before we learn how to rip the chip out.
You don't care if I live.
Wanted me dead. Said so yourself.
Made it
Jesus!
pretty clear since that I changed my mind. Want you to live now.
What's your motive?
Asked you already. What the hell you want from me?
I got a get out of jail free card. I'd be a fucking fool not to take advantage. See, me and Arasaka, we got a half-century-old score needs settling, and I plan to do it.
Alright.
That's what I need you
I'm
for.
becoming spaghetti. God damn it. Am I gonna be a terrorist? I think I already did some mild terrorism.
I feel kinda honored, actually.
Listen, I know things. Where we can save your life. Who can help us do that? You'll get rid of the chip. I'll smash Saka.
Got digital cigarettes. Yeah, that's on another level, bro.
Killer's what we need, and Makoshi's how we grab it.
What's that?
Okay, so this Makoshi. What is
See,
it?
that's the thing,
exactly?
is like, I hate his character, but I like
Okay,
Keanu Reeves.
Basics. If you're jacked in, cruising the net, Arasaka can use Soul Killer, an AI, to trap, fry, and pack away your psyche, your mind, and your soul. Following so far?
Yeah, that worked out great for you.
Yeah. Seen the memories. Did a real number on you.
Okay, seems we got a few more things to broach than I thought, but that'll come later. Anyway, when Soul Killer fries, roasts, and boils...
His character's mean to me. Okay, well, from a character, like from a writing perspective, his character's very cool. Sure. His character, I want to know more about his character. But from a personal perspective, he's mean to me and I'm sensitive.
Makoshi's the place Soul Killer operates out of, where it stores its victims' engrams.
Alright, how are we linked?
Still don't see how Makoshi...
He is a self-proclaimed ass. At least he owns up to it, yeah.
Not the brightest bulb on stage.
See what I mean? He's so mean to me. For what?
Back.
For what?
Human mind. Makoshi was the sole place on Earth where they did anything.
You like that type of thing? Stop! He's not mean in like a cute, like, debonair, sexy way. He's just a dick.
That's where we'll settle our biz.
Astarian's like, you're so silly. And like, Astarian, listen, I've accepted that my character trope, literally every relationship I've been in, every romp I've had is literally, he likes me, she likes me because I'm goofy. That is how, and I like when people are like, smart and cunning and like, mildly rude. He's just rude. There's no mild, he's just a dick, okay? That's all there is to it. Like, he's just rude.
No time to lose.
He doesn't even like me because I'm silly. Well, shit. Where are we going? It's okay when Astarian does it, but it's bad when Astarian does it differently. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Astarian does it differently. Okay. And Astarian does eventually become nice to you. I don't think he's gonna be nice to me. It's because we can't listen. That's not ever all of it, but it is part of it. I'd be willing to put up with a lot more if I knew there was an end game of... Let's call Judy.
B. You called.
Hi. I gotta leave.
Evelyn's not at Clouds anymore. Behavioral chip was damaged. Apparently they carted her off to a Ripper dog goes by Fingers.
Oh, shit.
Heading there now.
Heading there now. To find her.
I told her to stay the fuck away from Clouds. All right, later, V.
Bye-bye. All right. I think... Ooh. Okay. The end is near. Oh. entirely wrong. You're gonna date Mommy Judy? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I haven't committed. So, I think. All right. Do we wanna? All right. You know, Cybertech says we're still going. Let me go do another ad break so I can refill my water, because Twitch gets mad at me if I don't run ads every hour. But when we come back in a few minutes, we're going to Jig Street. I will be right back in just a few minutes just to go refill my water and all that jazz. Okay. BRB! Thank you, Vader. I appreciate that. Okay. Time to find some more hookers. Oh. Hi, Jester. Welcome to the stream. We're looking for hookers. So we are going to Jig Street. The area is hostile because I killed like 20 people, but it was an accident, so it's okay. Why can't I get on? What happens if I call my vehicle right now? Is it broken? Did I break it again? I probably broke it. Usually it lets me get on. Give me my bike back. Give me my bike back. In the tabletop you can get cyberware for that? Oh, hell yeah. Where's my car? Give me this. Give me back my bike. Let me get on. Here we go. Get on. There we go. All right. So, we are heading to Jig Street. We're going to find out what happened to Evelyn. And I'm not going to run over any more civilians, okay? Having that very deep talk with that hooker really changed my perspective on some things. I'm a changed woman, okay? I've found Jesus, I guess. And I will no longer be... Oh, it's down there. I will no longer be doing bad illegal shit. I will be, oh, whoopsie. I will be a good noodle from now on. I pinky promise you, okay? No more crime, okay? I've turned over a new leaf. Whoopsie, okay? I've turned over a new leaf. See? I didn't even hit anybody that time. Good noodle arc, okay? All right, let's head out. What's this little dude out right here? Select destination. Oh, it's a fast travel thing. That's right. Okay. Wait, what are these lip signs? What's going on over here? Huh? What the fuck is that? Girl, don't. Oh. It, oh. What? This is nasty. This is. Oh my god. Okay. Listen. Why are you just leaving a butt plug out on the fucking floor when there's cockroaches? Disease speed run. Okay. Well, this is a. Oh, more milks. Yay!
Try rainbow
This.
poppers?
What?
Purple haze? Got every color under the sun, I do.
Oh. I love drugs.
Show me the range.
Health booster. Oh, I thought she was gonna sell me crack. I don't want health boosters. I want crack. She's fucked up. All right. I don't have a lot of money, so we'll just hold off for now. Let's see. What's this one? What's going on over here? Nothing? Okay. Sex shop? Ooh, I want to go in.
Where's your cute little ass rushing off to?
You talking to me?
Slow down. Treat yourself to a little RELAXX.
Okay, you want me too bad, and now I'm no longer interested.
Something. How can I be of service?
Is that? Is that the whole fucking Wait, let me crouch. Let me get a look at that. Let me get. What? Who? How? The fists I kind of get, but how?
Got anything that might interest me?
Okay, ball gag. Okay, that's okay. 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 First stop, Prostate Peak. Fuck Mount Fuji, boys. We're going to Prostate Peak. There's bigger. Shut up. Shut up. Count Destroyer. Conquer 9000. After show, 6 gear. 3 mouse, 1 desire. Midnight visitor. Okay. Wait, there's a bigger one? Oh my god! Who is the target audience for these? Okay,
Got something that'll keep you wet for hours.
You're not real. I can walk through you. Shut up. Now, what about you? Hi.
Hey, you looking for some company tonight?
Well,
you found it, baby.
Is Cyberpunk worth the money? Well, you know what? Let me... I don't know. Because personally, what other game are you going to see a butt plug that big? And get your dick sucked. I'm gonna turn it worth the money. I actually haven't, jokes aside, I haven't run into any bugs so far. I haven't run into anything too crazy. Not really a fan of that. It's not Balenciaga, it's the fucking Gucci of butt plugs, okay? Alright, let's keep going. I haven't found any prostitutes to my liking yet, but I'm sure we'll get there. That's like slots and shit. Oh, another sex shop. Yippee! Oh wait, is it closed? What the fuck is that? I have a few questions. First of all, why? Second of all, who? Oh, it's home decor? Oh, okay. That changes everything. Shit. Listen, you know that guy on TikTok that tells you not to put stuff in your butthole? I don't give a fuck if this has a flared base. No. No. Oh, you look cool. Nice shoes. Wanna bang? Wait, why'd it get all spooky? I'm kind of just looking around. I'm just like, damn, that's the scene. Are all the lips just hookers? Is that what that signifies? It's just hookers?
Here, kitty, what's the rush?
This is just hookers. Okay. All right. There's only 4 and 2 and 2 high class. What? No, it hasn't been 30 minutes of sex land. I just got here. No, I just got here. Don't lie. Don't lie. I just got here. I didn't find any hookers I was interested in.
Untouched.
But that's okay. Maybe it's about the experience.
I'll come back some other time.
What happens if I get a hooker?
Betting on it.
Is it gonna show off my dick?
How about you?
What happened?
Stand there like a pig in a cup.
This one? I guess? Not sure. Alright, we'll see what's going on. You don't have one? I mean, listen, I'm sorry. Me saying what? Is it gonna show my fucking coochie? It doesn't roll off the tongue the same. I'm sorry. Alright, so I guess I have to go down there. Alright, it is? Okay. My bad, we have to go back to Sex Street. My bad. Oh wait, is it downstairs? You get romance in, if you have it censored, it doesn't show anything. But them in a broad undies. Oh, okay, that's kind of lame. Not gonna lie. Okay, so it's over here.
Stuck in traffic.
What's the sushi mean? I don't see any hookers I like, but I like sushi. Oh, it's down over here. Okay. Alright. Fingers MD. Okay.
Well, what do we got here?
Hi.
And you just the cutest
No,
thing.
I'm not a hooker.
If you're
I have a
looking
gun.
for a release, I just might be your man.
Try Moochies. Made right here.
Got an issue needs sorting out. Here to do that.
Bang, bang, bang.
So how about you
Bang,
fuck
bang, bang.
off, let
Bang,
me
bang,
through,
bang.
and no one will be the wiser.
Yeah.
So serious from the get-go? I was only joking.
There's a mannequin in that alley?
Fine. Let her
If you
through,
turn nudity on,
Sledge.
go to the Ripper Dock, you can get a dick. Oh, okay. Well, I know what we're doing off stream. We do a little mining off stream. Okay. Well, entering new area. What's going on in here?
Oh, gracious creature and benign. Befitting to the elements of pure. Hot through the world with bloody stain imbrued. If for a friend
Girl, what the fuck happened here?
Our prayer to him should for thy peace arise.
Okay. What the fuck is that? What? Do you see that?
Hands off. Think I'm scared of your skinny ass?
You will be when every mock in town descends on this shithole. You got a financial claim? Take it to court.
I wanted to eavesdrop. Alright, let's find fingies. And see, what the fuck is up, I guess. Oh, they're high? Okay, that adds up. Pack of cards. Don't mind if I
Tell me
do.
what you owe me, and you can fuck off to greener pastures.
Okay.
V, hey.
I don't owe you shit. Hello? There's a line.
I'm sorry, I cannot take a man.
Sit us down and wait your turn.
Seriously.
Fingers
And that get up. Like, I respect it. Oh my god, look at the shoes.
Like,
It gets better and better.
his hand sometimes slips.
Oh my god. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Glad to see a familiar face. I'm worried sick about her, V. Had no idea anything had happened. We'll find her. I know we will.
Why'd she go back, though?
After the heist, Evelyn holed up with the Mox for a while, right?
That's right.
So why the hell did she go back to Clouds? Thought she'd be safer there.
Ah,
God
that's
knows why. Tried to get her to see
okay, I
straight,
guess.
but she wouldn't listen.
You talked to Fingers yet?
You talked to Fingers yet?
If only. He's harder to get in to see than the best docs in town. We're gonna be here forever. I just know it. Maybe you could talk to those girls, see if we can cut in front?
Why me?
I don't think they like me. Just give it a shot. That or come up with something better.
Okay. Wait, you used to work at Clouds?
You worked at Clouds.
Not as a doll. Tuned their virtues. That's where I met Ev, Tom, and the rest of the crew.
Okay. Do you think she's here, though?
Think Evelyn's being kept here somewhere?
On the one hand, hope she is, because I want her back fast. But on the other, hope to God no, because who knows what that sick fuck could have done to her.
She means a lot to you.
She means a lot to you, doesn't she?
And you've arrived at that conclusion how exactly?
I'm just
Only
being
you
nice.
knew where she was. You sprang into action.
Once you get close to Evelyn, you never want to let her go.
Aw. Alright. Hi, ladies. She's sick. You are also sick. Let me,
You seen a woman with blue hair around here?
Alright, time to put the Riz on.
Think I know who you're talking about. Fingers worked on her, sure. She's still here?
No idea. Gotta ask him.
We do have street cred. I don't think this will work, but we'll try.
My friend here, she's in really sorry shape. Couldn't let us cut in front just this once.
Horse, honey, pick my guest.
Well, now hold on a sec. Didn't seem so bad just a minute ago. She's a toughie. Keeps it inside, mostly. Come on, let's go.
It was that easy? Well, thank you, ladies. Have a lovely rest of your day.
How about now?
Oh, wait, that didn't work.
Wait, something's wrong. Can't see nothing but a blur.
Faceplate's previous owner had a longer
I think he's done.
Oh, okay.
We going in?
I guess we're working. It worked.
Just...
The Riz worked. I'm genuinely shocked. My Riz never works. Ever.
Yes?
Goddamn.
Hello?
What a
can I
day.
do for you?
Oh, this is a song. Where's Evelyn Parker?
Looking for a girl named Evelyn Parker. I knew she was here in your
the fucking
clinic.
Soap.
Ah, so that's
This is a
what
song.
this is about.
Where is she?
There's a lot of songs from
A
games I
loaded
want to cover.
question if
I
I've
want to
ever
cover
heard one.
the 2 songs from Baldur's Gate,
You
and I want to cover
Tiger
this
Claws?
one too.
Far as I know, I'm all paid up.
We're with the Mox.
The Mox? Why didn't you say so?
What a...
So, what brings you here?
He looks like bad end Jeffree Star. That's all I'm gonna say.
Already told you. I'm looking for a woman named Evelyn Parker. Need to know where she is.
Step into my
And if you don't know who Jeffree Star is, probably for the
Many
best.
girls come through here. So many. But let me put it to you this way. I believe in giving each of them the personal touch.
What does that mean?
Ask anyone. I'm more than a chop doc. See, I know what people truly want. To be flattered, praised, patted. To feel like they deserve it. Of course.
I shouldn't punch
I
immediately.
can't remember.
Forrest. Name mean anything to you?
Well, we'll see.
Nope.
They call him Woodman. Works at the dollhouse.
There's a special weapon somewhere in here? Okay, I'll have to look for it.
You talked to him?
I'm the one asking you questions.
I'm the one asking the questions here. Was Woodman the one who introduced Evelyn to you?
Introduced? Interesting choice of words. Rolled her in on a gurney, more like. She was out of it. I honestly couldn't believe she wasn't dead. Never mentioned her name, so I just called her Doll.
That's so fucked up in the context of this
Poor girl.
universe, though. Like, could couldn't remember her name, so I just called her Hooker. Like,
as you can see, this isn't exactly a
that's
state-of-the-art
fucked up.
facility.
All right, get to the point.
Get to the point.
The point? Ah, yes. Well, I haven't the faintest idea where she is.
Enough of this bullshit! What'd you do to her, you freak?
Now, either you put a muzzle on this creature...
That's my
or
friend!
put her down. It's impossible to have a conversation with her around.
You are scum. Pathetic. A waste of words. I'm a hair away from putting you down.
2 beefers from a BD studio took her. Didn't even know their names.
Jesus Christ, that's...
They mentioned a moth of all things. Virtues with the death's head.
Yeah, this is
Said
very
she'd be
fucked
good for the
up.
moth.
It's sad. Keep talking. Oh my god, you die with 2 punches, you fucking pussy.
There. I'll be outside.
You still alive?
Gaslight.
I guess he's dead.
Girl
Wendigo, thank you so much for the follow. You're a gaslight can't keep girl boss. I killed a man. I really didn't mean to. It was 2 punches and now he's a... Whoopsie. Well, here's what it is. Alright. I think we got the special weapon. Yeah, I think... Let me take a look at it. Wait, I thought I saw something else, but... Is this the special weapon? The club? It is kind of cool looking. Now he's definitely dead. Well, it is what it is, okay? Is this the special weapon, though? I'm assuming it is. Okay. This is... Yeah. Why is there a butt plug? Wait, can I, like, play croquet with it? Wait, what? Did it move on it? Did you see that? It, like, skittered like a bug. That time I kicked it, but it, like, moved on its own at one point. Okay, anyway, sorry. Back to the task at hand. Alright. Judy, are you okay? She's probably not okay, but that's okay. Ah, this is fucked. This is so
Let her
fucked.
go back to Clouds. Could have stopped her.
Now where are the girls gonna get their shit done? I didn't think that through. I'm sorry. Here, we'll find her. Don't worry.
Don't worry. We'll find her. I know it. We'll fucking find what's left of her butchered corpse. Hey! Keep it together! Wanna give up now? No. Only lead we got's an XBD. Where's that get us? We also know we're looking for something related to the Death's Head. Better than nothing.
I don't get your optimism. Still sounds like a big fat nothing to me.
Have you heard that term?
Death's Head symbol bring anything to mind. Anything. Doesn't matter how small.
This industry... I mean, market's looking for every kind of fetish out there. It's cavernous. But an XBD outfit'd be on the move almost
What does
always.
XBD mean? Because I know brain
Makes them
dance.
harder
What does
to
the X
nab,
mean?
harder to sting.
Aren't brain dances inherently sexual? Or does the X, like, imply that it's, like, extra sexual? Because I don't remember exactly.
Need to figure out where they're scrolling this stuff. Gotta be a rat hole of some sort. Doubt they do much shooting on location.
Yeah, gotta be somewhere quiet.
It's very
out of the
sad.
way.
And, like...
Could be we'll see something to point us in their direction in one of their virtues.
It kind
Have
of,
to
like...
be real gonks to
I
leave
don't
a
know.
clue.
It's fucked. But I'm kind of, like... desensitized by it, if that makes sense. Just because, like... I don't know.
V, get it
I know... Sorry.
Got a better idea.
Matter of fact, I do. A domain called Pleasures of Night City. There's a twin of it on the dark net.
I'm kind of desensitized to it. I've
Every
been through
kind
some
of thing
similar
goes
shit.
on there. Might
As well as
stumble
some
on
of my
something
friends.
useful.
Illegal BD. Okay, that makes sense. Because I thought most BDs were inherently, like...
Let me think
porn.
for a sec.
It was only the one that we used in the first intro mission before the heist that was, like, special because it wasn't porn, if I recall correctly. We can look at the site and then go to Jig Jig Street.
Darknet domain. That's our best bet. Let's stick to the plan. Fine. Here's hoping you turn up something useful.
All right.
I'll wait in the van.
So let's find that terminal and see what we can dig up. I like this mannequin just chilling out here. Just hanging out, you know. Alright, let's see. Locate a terminal. Although we do have stuff for just talking to people. Is it double tap to take my stuff away? There we go. Alright. Wait, what? Here we go. Alright. Let's see. Oh, shit. All pleasures and delights Night City has to offer in a single place. Now, isn't that convenient? Okay. Let's see. Domains Underground Twin. Maybe the login? Okay. Alright. I don't entirely remember. 16BDE91C. So... let's start here. BD... ah, shit. Fuck! Okay. Let me try it again. Can I try it again? Let's see. 1CE955BD. So 1CE955. That one's not gonna work. Doesn't it have to start at 16 or 1C though? Oh, it does work. Okay, cool. Ah, shit. I don't have a password. Oh, okay, that worked. An XBD dealer. Okay, let's see. Brain dances. Fighting Satan with sadism. Historically accurate. Oh, great. Bodies in space. Okay, chickens, fish, and a human. Duh. Okay. No anesthesia. Ew. Stomach incision, internal organ removal. Patient. Listen. I know I'm very anti-kink shame. I don't want to yuck someone else's yum. But what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Death Head Moth. Wait, here we go. Real brain death. Would it be this one? It's not letting me click on it. Because the Death's Head came up, right? Let's see, Cyberpalooza. What does this say? Hard driver, Kari, Mavico, Muffin, the dude. Yeah, I can't click on any of these. Just looking. Maybe in dollhouses? Let's see. Could you click the contact link? Let's look at that. It was this one I want to look at. Yeah, it wouldn't let me click the contact link. Let's see. To wait in front of the club until they leave. Oh, that's fucked up. That's... ugh. Ugh, I don't like this. Let's see. Nightlife, maybe? The old pharma. Meet your meat. Oh boy, okay. Southern Bees. El Conquistador. Not seeing anything. Although, it might just be like... Let me log in again. I'm wondering if it's like something hidden I have to click. Like, you know how, did you ever play the game like Welcome to the Game? I'm wondering if it's like that. You know what I mean? Like there's like something hidden on the site. Follow the waypoint. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, so we have the info. That's what I thought. I was like, do we have the info? And then it's just, okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right.
Hey, yo, man, you trying to rip us off?
Huh?
I got 4 bags missing here.
Okay.
That's the cut.
All right, let's head up.
I ain't dealing with power. I'm dealing with you.
And we'll, Go
I
to...
could pave the sidewalk with your guts, but that wouldn't get me what I'm owed.
Yeah, I have to go up here, right?
Oh, you wanna try? Go on, son.
Let's go to storage, maybe? I don't know. There we go. Alright. Hi! Need a special... Where? Yeah.
Looking for BDs. A particular...
I sound like such a fucking fed.
Particular?
Low-key, like...
You a badge?
Looking for a BD. I don't know why, but that just... Oh, God. Evie's getting viruses. Welcome in, Stevie. And yes, you are correct. Listen, I don't... Like, thank you, Vader. I'm doing my darndest, but God, I sound like a fed. I really do. Like, how do you do, fellow cool kids?
If I was a badge, you'd already be in cuffs for what you sold the customer before me.
All right, all right. Can't be too careful. What do you want?
Give me the best of the best. Ones with the death's head.
Didn't know I was dealing with a connoisseur. Death's head'll cost you, though.
I feel like the discount's pushing it, but we'll try.
How about a discount for your newest customer?
Only give regulars discounts.
Yeah, that's what I
Short,
thought.
Then fuck off.
All
Got
right.
anything that might interest me?
Let's see. Deep fried death head's maw. Jesus Christ. All right, how much is it? Yeah, I got the money. All right.
Pleasure doing biz with you.
Thank you, sir. The Riz did not work that time, but that's okay. That's okay. All right. Let's head on over here. Judy! I got it! Judy! Is Judy gonna drive? Am I not allowed to drive anymore? I'm sorry I keep hitting pedestrians. It won't happen again. All right, got the thing.
Let me get everything prepped. You make sure the wreath's snug on you.
The what?
You'll watch while I edit in real time.
Oh,
We all
jeez.
want to.
It'll happen again. What?
Ready when you are.
Listen.
I want you to describe what you see.
Oh, I have to look at it? No, don't make me look at fucked up shit. Oh, shit. Guess we'll watch the whole thing and then we'll go into edit mode. I don't like this. This gives me oh. What the fuck was that? Okay, let's restart it. And let's start.
Scab. Gotta be. He knows for that kind of fashion sense.
Let's see. It's hard to tell because there's a window. Okay. Let's maybe how do I change layers? I don't remember. Is it E that change? No, E's the okay. We know that's the scav. When the bar is in yellow, you can see on scav. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay. And let's. Here we go.
Scab woman. Who knew that besides chopping people up, they were scrolling XBDs?
Anything else? Oh, here we go. Pizza!
Ordered recently.
From Buck a Slice. Well, okay, that actually could mean something. Nothing on the computer. You see that happen a lot. There's a lot of, there's actually a website that posts, like, backgrounds of images of, like, missing people or, like, of places in, like, really fucked up, like, they're trying to find places in, like for cops and stuff to find people that have kidnapped people and stuff like that. And genuinely, like, shit like this, like, I feel like it sounds kind of memey, like, oh, it's pizza. But, like, literally, like, seeing, like, this gives you a location. This gives you a zip code. You know what I mean? So, if you're, like, into, like, finding details and stuff like that, there are places where you can volunteer and basically look at images of where, you know, certain fucked up shit has been filmed, and you can, they're looking for volunteers to basically find location details like that, like a piece of pizza, or like a business card or something like that. So it is a thing, you know? All right, let's fast forward to the next editable section, the next scan. Right here. Here we go. All right, let's take a look. The lab
Electric
suit.
corp patch on the coveralls.
There we go. That's something. So yeah, even like a uniform, right? Let's go to the next one. Oh, wait, here we go. What's this?
Ordinary box. Decker, Tanaka, and Rogers logo.
Okay.
Standard for a trash heap.
Anything else that's new? Is this new? Here we go.
Can't beat that rich synth cough aroma. Cheap shit. Cold too. Mm-hmm. Buck a slice.
Okay.
Coffee was cold. Like from the day before. Pizza looked fresh though.
Yeah,
So,
the heat map.
means someone's grabbing Buck a slice regularly. Which is not something one does for the flavor and fresh ingredients.
It's like they're fucking Little Caesars.
Steamy with styrofoam. Nobody's gonna schlep across town for it. Okay. We're looking for an electric core power plant located near a Buck a slice.
EC used to have a big old complex in Charter Hill. Buck a Slice checks out too. How can you be sure though?
Let's see. Switch layer.
Christ, it's hot. Thermal readings are off the charts.
Keep looking.
I guess we're good to go. It says we can exit.
Here we go. Old electric core power plant in
Yeah.
Charter Hill.
I think it was kind of bugged out a little bit. I thought that it was implying we still have more to look for. Yeah, don't fuck with cat. Very good documentary. Very good documentary.
No time to lose. We gotta go there.
All right.
Ride with me?
Give me that street kid. Let's go.
Let's get going. On our way.
All right. Like the atmosphere.
Still can't shake it. That virtue sample we saw with the death's head moth. If all they scroll is snuff, then...
Stop it. They'd have to be utter gonks to waste her on something like that.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
We're talking about a girl who's not only a natural at what she does, but also has got a doll's implant. I mean, that's not a package you find lying out in the street.
You're much better at driving than I am. Just saying. You're doing a fantastic job. All right, we'll skip the ride. Whoa.
As always, your business is my business. Today, we crack open and dissect more technologies.
And here we are.
Drove an entire mile without killing anyone. A feat Evie is. Listen.
Find us a way inside. I'll hang back, scan the subnet, see if there's any blueprints of the complex lying around.
Okay.
Join you as soon as I find something.
Let's link on Hollow till then.
Alright, so,
Meanwhile, their first major success
why is she,
continues to
girl,
raise
you're right here.
Alright, going in.
Bye, bestie. Why'd she call me? She's right there. Alright, I think this is a good place to call it for tonight. Next week, we will figure out what is going on with Evelyn. I like Judy a lot. I don't know for sure if we're gonna romance her, but I do like her, you know? So I don't know exactly what we're gonna do. Thank you, Jinkle, for posting it. All the VODs, if you want to see part 1 and part 2, are on YouTube. If you want to get caught up and see what we've done so far, how many pedestrians I've killed, and so on. So we will be streaming again on Sunday. I'm hoping for people that are subbed, I'm gonna try to do a sub stream. I've never done a sub stream on Twitch before. We're gonna try to do a sub stream on Twitch. I'm gonna be doing some recording. I'm gonna be recording my first original song, hopefully. I don't know for sure. I'm gonna see if it works out, timing wise, because I've been really busy lately. But we might be doing that just because I really want to get that done. And it'll be kind of a work stream, but it'll be fun. So if you're subbed, you'll be able to access that. What else do I want to say? But yeah, so let's figure out, let me see. Let me see. I want to check something real quick. So, I couldn't find it. I was trying to see if I could find that thing for looking at, like, backgrounds and stuff, because, some of the stuff we talked about tonight was kind of heavy. Like, even for me, you know, there are certain things that kind of, you know, I'm a little sensitive to. But definitely, please, if you're able to, because I can't find it, just because a lot of the stuff, oh, fuck, I didn't mean to do that. A lot of the stuff we talked about today is really fucked up and kind of hit home to me. I don't want to talk about it and be a bummer. But if you can, please consider donating to RAIN, the, basically, an association that helps out, sexual abuse survivors. And that's something that's really important to me. And I'm hoping to do a charity stream for them at some point. I just have not had time. But I know a lot of the stuff we talked about was kind of fucked up tonight. So if you are able to donate to them, please do. Because it's really important to me. But anyway, let's see who we are going to raid. We are going to raid... Let's raid Milk. We haven't raided Milk in a while. She is playing Resident Evil 4. Milk is one of my own vocal students. She's also a very talented artist. So let's raid her. And our raid message is going to be... What am I thinking? Let's do... If you have the gun emoji, I think the gun emoji would be good. Get a head pat redeem. I don't know how to do that, because I know there's a way to do it so like a little hand comes up and pats your head. I don't know quite how to do that, but I will look into it because that could be very fun. But let's do gun redeem, and if you don't have that, you can just do EB raid incoming. I think that would be cute. And have some guns, because guns are always fun. All right, goodbye, gamers. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you later.